Welcome back to another episode of the Otter Players Podcast, where this week we'll talk about some new rumors, see what everybody's been playing, go over the industry report and the story so far with this generation, Xbox backwards compatibility program for PC announced, and Xbox focusing on high priority IPs and high ROI, as well as a few other things, as we normally do once we get into these discussions. But first of all, we'll see what everybody's been playing and how everyone's been doing. Weeb, how are you, sir? And how have you been?
Like,
I mean that jealousy that doesn't become you, Omar.
well, it's
Yeah, but I
not
say he mad just
jealousy.
because his PC ain't working right now.
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
no, but are you going to be able to play GTA 6
He got a
day one?
PS5, bro. Like, why are you saying it
Yeah,
No,
like he only
no,
yeah.
got a
no.
PC?
I'm talking from the PC standpoint. That's why I said wait a race.
Well,
I
but
mean, he's
I'm
not
not the
though,
waiter race because I have
because he has
everything.
both.
I can literally play everything. I mean, Omar, can you play the next Mario game or Metroid game? I mean, you don't
I'm
have a Switch.
trying to secure that
Yeah.
one.
So no.
So you were also the PlayStation waiter race, huh? But yeah, I mean, I finally bit the bullet on that one. I sort of put it on the back burner with right before the hardware prices started to go apeshit crazy thanks to AI. But yeah, Sony had to drop that bombshell and say, "Hey, yeah, we're gonna kill physical games." And they're like, "All right, I'm out. I'm gonna do it. If I have to go all digital anyway, then I'm gonna do it. The stylized way. I'm gonna do what I have to do and get myself a PC." And I got a tip from somebody who said, "Hey, they're selling like crazy bills, 5090 bills." For pretty much the price of the 5090 itself. So it's like, okay, how the hell are they doing that? And I mean, I had and they double check it. Like, I mean, all those parts checked out. I mean, and yeah, I mean, I don't know how to do it, but yeah, it's like, yeah, it's a fucking monster.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's huge. Like I called it aquarium. I probably could put in some fish in there because it's that fucking roomy. But yeah, it took me a while to get it, first of all, because it was quite an ordeal. Because the first one they shipped apparently got misplaced. Let's say, put it like that.
air quotes misplaced.
Yes, yes.
Happened to
That's that.
fall off the back of the truck,
Yep.
at the guy's house who delivered it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the funny part is apparently it already fell out of the truck before it even got to the distribution center.
Oh
The
wow.
guy who picked it up apparently, or I mean, allegedly, whatever. I mean, I could kind of, I told you like when I got the box, there was like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't put the logo of your company on the box because people can just look it up, and like the backside even had the URL. Like, are you just put Steal Me on there,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it took me a while to like they kept postponing it, even though they knew that that it was already missing, day one. Then got my money back. Then I immediately went back to order it again, and apparently they had something to make up for, because like they were there like the next day, like really early, like even earlier than they were actually supposed to come. Like I was like, okay, it's gonna come probably after lunch. I have plenty of time. Get up at 10, take a shower, have something to eat, and I'm like, okay, I got up a little early. Think, okay, I'll take the shower, and then I got out of the shower and looked at my phone, like, and they moved up the time frame. Like we're about to deliver it right now, and I was like, okay, fuck. Like I was checking the window and rushing to to get ready before it was there, and that pretty much arrived like when I was ready. Um, yeah, I was really like behind the curtain checking. Hey, okay, I see you. Don't you dare drop that box. Um, yeah, finally it arrived. Took me a while to get it all set up because, of course, it needed a million updates. And then the noob that I am, I didn't realize they put the Wi-Fi antenna separately in the box. So I was like, okay, why the hell am I not getting Wi-Fi? Why is my Bluetooth not working? Uh, even even posted a ticket in with the builder, and it's like, yeah, check the box with all the spare parts from your motherboard, which it's basically just all the leftover junk, the screws and stuff. Like, oh yeah, thanks thanks for mentioning that. Uh, um, so yeah, finally found that. Even and I literally like was checking with a friend of mine who has way more experience with that than I have, and he was like, yeah, I mean, we did everything. Yeah, we even installed drivers, went through the actual website of the manufacturer. Nothing worked. We even went to like our version of Target. Like, okay, let's just buy like a used like a USB dongle, with for Bluetooth. At least I can like because the Wi-Fi I can do without, but like Bluetooth, like I want to play with a PlayStation controller, so I do need Bluetooth. And then yeah, got a response back from their service desk. Yeah, check your box. Okay. And then the next problem popped up. I look, oh yeah, because the hardware was changed, I need to reactivate, Windows. But of course, the smart Alec I was, yeah, fuck you, Microsoft. I'm not gonna tie my PC to your Microsoft account because I learned that the last time where you had an update and suddenly it couldn't log in anymore because you lost a sync between my account and my online account and my laptop. So I found a hack to bypass that, and then so yeah, the only way you can actually troubleshoot that is if you first log into your account, but that account wasn't tied to my Windows license, so yeah, I was kind of fucked. And then I called them again or put a ticket again. Like, yeah, we know we put a small thumb drive inside the case, just in case where you have the product key of Windows. Like, oh wow. um, so yeah, but finally got to work. I've set up all the PC stores. Steam, Epic, GOG. Been downloading a lot of Steam games. I've played a few. Yeah, some games probably would just run on my Steam Deck, but others like I mean I'm a huge fan of games like Command and Conquer, so I got Tempest Rising while it was on sale, and yeah, I've been enjoying that. Like it's really great to come back to because
Hey, back to the RTS games.
exactly. Like, yeah, those are games you cannot play on console. As hard as they try to make it work, like that doesn't work. You need a mouse and keyboard for that. Like, no, no. So, yeah, I'm really happy that I can finally play those games. I mean, there's a ton of Command and Conquer clones and StarCraft clones, and there's a lot of games coming up. I think that dinosaur medieval game looked really interesting. Probably will get Age of Mythology retold if once it goes on sale. Because I tried playing that on the Xbox, and the Game Pass, and like it's unplayable with control. Like, nah, we ain't doing that. Um, Played a couple of demos as well. Uh, Agent 64, Spies Never Die, which yeah, it literally looks like an N64 game on like GoldenEye on by design. Uh, but yeah, lots of fun. I'm definitely gonna definitely wishlist that. Definitely gonna get that in August. Also finally played 1666 Amsterdam prologue, or I think don't think it's a demo. They constantly remind you it's a work in progress. Um, it has an interesting concept, but I would say it's still a lot of work to be done. Like there was no real combat in there, unlike what they showed in the trailer, and yeah, the narration was a bit annoying because they literally were just telling you everything
I
we were seeing.
with this one, I'm curious what they're gonna do because with Microsoft pulling their funding away from it, they need to find someone else or else
Yeah, I don't
they're
know.
they're
I mean,
screwed.
yeah, I do hope they find somebody else because it has potential. I mean, it has an interesting premise. It just, yeah, it is a lot of work. But yeah, that they also warned you basically at the beginning of the demo or whatever you want to call it. Like that, this is not, it's not supposed to represent the final version. It's not an actual demo, as in this is a section of the game. The game might completely change, or well, maybe never come out. But let's hope not. Uh, it was another demo played, but no, I don't remember. It was one that book game where you like play as a sort of D&D like game where you from thinking the artist of Vanillaware. Um, Pretty interesting. But yeah, I have to play a bit more to see if I want to buy it. Other than that, also before, of course, I became a PC master race, I was playing on PlayStation. I finished Shinobi Art of Vengeance, both the main game and DLC. Pretty fun. The demo definitely doesn't do justice because I didn't quite vibe with the demo, but then when you play the main game, there's a lot more variety in the levels, mission design. Like there are these fun sections where you ride a giant dog, and you have all these different moves you unlock. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. A bit challenging, but quite doable. And DLC missions also pretty fun because then you can get to fight the iconic Sega bosses from different games, like Majima, of course, but also Doctor Robotnik or Doctor Eggman from Sonic. So yeah, I finished that, and then I started playing Mouse PI because yes, I finally got to finally my copy arrived because yeah, I waited for the Mouseburg edition, including the single LP. Yeah, lots of fun. Also pretty lengthy game because I wasn't expecting it to last this long. Um, yeah, a lot of fun, like that typical noir, style with sort of the tongue-in-cheek humor. I think you also mentioned that, Morgan, with the cheese puns, sort of. Are constantly. I mean, but to the point where it's just fun. And the dialogue, the voice actors are brilliant. Like I mean, I think it's
Hmm.
Baker doing the PI.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, everybody is just on point. You can see they have a lot of fun playing these sort of noir characters with all the cheese puns. Uh, yeah, I mean, it is. Intriguing as well. Like I do like sort of the mystery, which is obviously, I mean, it's a detective story, but where you're constantly sort of investigating these clues and then have sort of solve the clue and then find out where you have to go next. But also revealing the story where it's even though it's very silly, it's also I mean, yeah, literally there are murders happening there. I love allegories to the real world. Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and also love the different I would call it the different filters you can apply. At a certain point I thought, hey, it actually looks way better if I just use that sort of film grain, just put it to the max. Where you have all those sort of purposeful screen tearing, like an old movie, which looks awesome. Um, yeah, I definitely want to finish that one as well. and yeah, I guess getting a PC kind of derailed my my plan with what I want to play next. So I'm because you know it obviously expanded my options. So I'll probably just try a lot of different games that I couldn't play before, didn't work on the Steam Deck, or maybe something that's on sale. But yeah, and also it completely changes sort of the considerations. Like I never finished Cyberpunk, but now that I have a PC, I'm just gonna wait until it's on sale on GOG, get there, and I mean, like I think it would be crazy to not take advantage of the fact that I can play it in the best possible settings. So I'll yeah, definitely do that. But yeah, that's
I
the
I
advantage of
love
having
how
choice.
I
Hmm?
love how you can mention GOG or other places where you can buy games. Unlike with PlayStation, you're so fucking restricted to just physical or digital. It's so refreshing to be a PC master race, not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, that's the thing as well. Like, yeah, I mean, I have people ask me, yeah, okay, you say you're buying a PC, but that's all digital. But yeah, well, technically, I could, with what you mentioned, GOG is DRM free, so you can, and they literally, they literally make fun of PlayStation with that, like, yeah, you can just burn it on a disc, and then you have a physical version, and you don't need GOG to play it. You can play it anywhere. Um, so they're in that way, PC is doing more for game preservation than PlayStation is doing. But yeah, also like it's not a simple binary thing where you just say yeah, okay, yeah, it's physical or nothing. Like I do love gaming, do want to keep playing games, and I mean I've aside from spending a ridiculous amount of money on a PC now, I've spent probably probably by the end of the year an equal amount of money on the game set that I'm buying, because I'm not just buying. It's not just a crazy year with all these releases where I have maybe $1,000 just from pre-ordering all these games that are coming out this year. But also, I'm buying physical versions left, or everything that I sort of postponed or wasn't sure what want to pull the trigger, or now I see an interesting limited run game or something where I think, yeah, maybe that's fun, or maybe that's something that uh, I don't know. Maybe let's keep it, keep it in the packaging. Maybe it's going to be worth something, because yeah, you see there's always a crazy run on these games. So you see in eBay people are putting like some games that have like I don't know, 1,000 uh, uh, thousand number of 1,000 prints. So there's only 1,000 copies of that version, the physical version, and then they're like selling it, flipping it for 3, 4, 5 times the purchase value. Like it's crazy, and like I'm not into selling games. Like I literally I'm a collector, so I don't sell my consoles. I don't. Uh, I've the number of games I sold is a handful, and then those are just the games that I had double or something. Because for the most part, I just love to keep them and have them in my collection, and I will probably continue doing that, until the end of PlayStation's physical live, and yeah, maybe Switch 2 is an interesting option for some games as long as they're running on the cartridge, but also have are comparable in performance. But yeah, I mean, PC is the next option there. Like okay, for all the third-party games that are coming to all platforms. Yeah, if I don't have a physical option or a viable physical option, sure, I'll just play it on PC. It's going to be play better and PlayStation, and probably going to be cheaper, and I potentially have the option to play DRAM free. So yeah, I mean, that was a choice I made, and yeah, and the choice that PlayStation, yeah, basically pushed me towards, and yeah, I guess in a sense their loss, and yeah, I hope for them that that they're not more people like me who are making that jump, because then that next generation might be, yeah, more disappointing to them than I had hoped. But yeah, I digress. That's my intro.
Yeah, sounds like you've been busy. Congrats on the new PC. Uh,
Thank you.
Finally getting it delivered. I know that's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of things to catch up on. Like you said,
Yep.
start revisiting your library and some of the games you've been missing, or some of the games that are, only on PC or play best on PC. So now you got that option. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Obviously, not to go into it super deep, but um, yeah, obviously the discussion, for physical and digital still continuing, and people are making their decisions. Like you said,
Yeah.
you you went on ahead and went back to PC pretty heavy, um, and you'll continue this generation largely like you've been, um, with the addition of PC and and whatnot, and just kind of continue on there. A lot of people are definitely kind of missing some of the points. Like I heard on I heard some terrible analogies since this whole discussion has come up and stuff, and people just equating things like to like somebody
Yeah.
tried to say like it was like SD and HD, and it's like they were like it's like being mad that your TV no longer plays in SD, and I was like, no, that's a terrible analogy because HD is literally better in every single way. I was like,
Yeah.
but physical has multiple benefits that digital does not. So I was like, yeah, that's not the same. Um, and then I had seen someone stating obviously the big comparison is movies, music, and how they're stream related and stuff like that. And while I do agree a lot of those things are largely that way, right? Again, you don't play those things, um, but again, people are already learning by example. Like it's funny, people always bring up movies, right? But people are funny enough learning by example that none of that stuff is permanent either. So even when they've purchased it on a particular platform, like when Sony just removed a bunch of those titles due to some licensing agreement directly from people's accounts, and people are learning, hey, if you really want all four John Wicks or whatever it is you're into, right? Interstellar, whatever, you need to secure that 4K Blu-ray. Um, or you need to get yourself a server going like we have, um, and those are the only real ways to lock it down, is to have that hard copy somewhere where you can access it. So yeah, no, I agree. It's we're all making decisions. Morgan over here is even considering a PC one day in life, which is shocking because I have all but begged her to let me build one for her. So that'll be an interesting endeavor in the future if Morgan does also do that. But speaking of Morgan, how are you, ma'am, and what have you been playing?
Yeah, I'm good. You haven't been playing as much as Weeb over there. He's decided to break out the whole damn library to play. Um, for me though, I've just been kind of focused on like a few games. The DLC for Power Wash Simulator 2 came out. The Star Wars and Adventure Time DLC, and me and Nate and Sanctus decided to play that, and it was a really good time. I love me some Power Wash Simulator. It's a nice chill game where you could just vibe and relax and not really think. You could put like a podcast on or an audiobook on in the background because the point of the game is just to clean, right? You're just spraying and cleaning. And so it's just a nice game to just kind of, decompress to. So yeah, when they announced that they were doing two DLCs to two IPs that I really love, I was like, yeah, I'm playing that day once. We finished like both of those in like 2 days. But it was really fun. Other than that, I've also still been playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag. About 78 hours into the game right now. I think I have 2 trophies left before the plat. But yeah, that's definitely been a grind, but it's been so fun. Like I absolutely love, Black Flag Resynced. It does the original justice. Um in all of the best ways. Like obviously the visuals, the upgrade. We say a lot of shit about Ubisoft, but one thing you can't you know say negatively about them is that they don't really know how to make a good looking game, because they do. Um, their engine is very good and it's very well optimized, and the PS5 Pro port especially looks fantastic with the ray tracing and the reflections and the shadows and the lighting. Just everything about it just looks so good. And it plays so well. It just feels good to be a pirate again. It makes me, like I said the last show, it really just makes me miss the old Ubisoft and the old Assassin's Creed, and how they actually cared about the writing and character development. And it just kind of makes me sad to, and I don't want to be sad about the next Assassin's Creed, because I like the idea of it, like the premise of it, the um witch trials in Germany in like the 17th century or 16th century, something like that. It sounds like a really good premise for an Assassin's Creed game, but it's, at the end of the day, it's still modern Ubisoft, and the writing has just been so subpar. Um, hoping that this, with this new change that they're doing, internally with their studios and everything like that, trying to reprioritize things, works in favor of Assassin's Creed, and maybe we'll get a better Assassin's Creed out of it, but I doubt it. But anyway, yeah, if you are a Black Flag fan, I highly recommend getting Resynced. It was a really good time. My brother also finished it. He texted me the other day and was just like, "Oh my god, 10 out of 10." He was like, "This game is fucking amazing. I loved it." He was like, "I even love the new edition and the new cutscenes and everything like that." He's like, "It's weird because the writing in current Ubisoft isn't that good." And I was like, "Oh yeah, but because that the new cutscenes were written by the original Black Flag writer." And he was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "I could tell the difference in quality." He was like, "I was confused as to why all of a sudden Ubisoft knew how to write again." And I was like, "Yeah, it's just because they brought the OG back." But yeah, highly recommend Black Flag Resynced. Also, surprisingly, decided to play Halo. Was it Combat Evolved, or the whatever the remake is called now? Uh, on the PlayStation Pro. Um, First time playing Halo. Um, got about 5-6 hours into the game. I've been playing with Innate co-op. Um, don't really know how to exactly how I feel about it. I will say I can understand why people liked it in 2001, but as far as 2026 goes, I don't really
It didn't
feel.
age well.
I mean, it's not about. I mean, it's a remake, so it's not about it not aging well. It's just I don't. There's nothing spectacular to me about this. Like, I don't have any kind of attachment to Halo or Master Chief. I feel like this is more towards like, obviously it's geared to PlayStation players, 'cause this was the point of this port, was to get people, to introduce to Master Chief. But for me, I really don't have any connection to Master Chief or Halo, and this game didn't really do anything for me. I was kind of me and they were kind of laughing the entire time about like the cheesiness of it, because it's just really 2000s with the writing, like really early 2000s, just that dude bro, cheesy, army movie type writing.
And are you playing it first
And
person or third person? I'm curious about that one.
I'm playing it first person. I don't even know how to change it to third person. But yeah, it's just weird. The gunplay doesn't really feel that good to me. I was aiming down sights and I was like, why does this feel weird? And then I started like not aiming down sights, and I was like, oh, okay, so this feels better. And they told me like, yeah, that's because the original game you don't really aim down sights. And I was like, oh, okay, well that makes sense. But honestly, it just made me realize how um much better Bungie is at gunplay, because like the entire time I was playing it, I was like, damn, bro, I just want to play Marathon right now. Because the gunplay in Marathon is exceptional. And in Halo, it was just not like, and this is just not to say that the game isn't good. Like, it's fun, and I think playing with someone is
Largely
probably
because we talking trash the whole
why.
time.
Yeah, I think that's probably why I'm enjoying it because I'm just playing co-op and I'm just kind of laughing, having a good time or whatever. It's a pretty game. It looks nice. It has its moments, its little set pieces and everything like that. The beach looked great and like the swamp area looked cool. Um, but yeah, like I'm trying to, get immersed into the story, trying to understand the origin of Master Chief and Halo and the ring and all these things, and I'm just kind of like, I don't get it. Like I'm like, I don't really know. I don't really get what's happening. I'm not really focusing much. I'm kind of zoning out a little bit. So at the end of it, I was just like, man, fuck it. I'm just here to shoot aliens, I guess. And the
Basically.
aliens are funny too. They're just really cheesy with their lines and um yeah. But
Damn, so the
I'll
story
finish
didn't
it.
grab you whatsoever.
I'll
Interesting.
finish it, but I don't really think I'll care like about Halo or anything. It kind of just confirms my feelings. Like I like that I really didn't miss out on much when I didn't play Halo originally. I was just like, it's okay. Like, and this isn't again to insult people who like Halo because I mean I'm sure people have fond memories back in 2001 with the LAN parties and all that kind of thing. But I think this is I think this is a game more geared to nostalgia. Like this is that game that you play again if you are a fan of Halo and you're like, oh, I would love to see it in an updated form factor. Kind of like how I feel about Final Fantasy VII. Like I think that's geared towards people who are fans of
Yeah,
Final
I
Fantasy
agree.
VII. And it's like, oh, nostalgia. Oh my God, Cloud in 3D. Oh my God, yay. And it's just like, I'm just playing it. I'm like, oh, it's cool. Like nothing spectacular to me. That's just kind of how I feel about Halo. I'm just like, it's straight. It'll be like a nice solid 7 for me. Um, but nothing like I don't think as far as like graphically, like I said, game looks great. There was some kind of hitching with the frame rate. Sometimes it gets real wonky when we're reloading checkpoints. Like if we die or something, and we have to reload the checkpoint. Like it comes back and it like gets real weird. I think just there's just some issues with co-op, like where it just kind of frazzles the game sometimes. But it's nothing like too crazy where it's like unplayable. It's just some kind of hiccups that I've noticed with the game. But yeah, I'll finish it. Um, but this didn't make me want to play Halo or get an Xbox or anything like that. So yeah, straight game though, straight. And
Understandable.
yeah, that's all I've been playing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it's just kind of like, and it kind of, to solidify your point, somebody made like a post that was like, oh, to make all these changes, to make it play closer to the original, and like one of them was like disable sprint and do this and that, and it was
Yeah,
just
because I
like,
know Sprint was a big debate within the Halo community because that wasn't originally in the game. And people don't want it in there for whatever reason. But I'm just like, can you just give like people an option to turn it off or something? Like I don't
no,
know.
there's an option to turn it off. So
Oh
that's what
well then what are
somebody.
they complaining about?
But that's what I was saying. Like it was shout out to Sonny, one of the homies. And he's a big Halo fan, but he basically on the post where somebody was like, here, make all these changes to make it feel more like the original, and he was like, all those changes are basically superficial. I'm not doing that. So there are some people that are very realistic about the situation and that are like, okay, look, like he likes it. He says it plays fine. I agree. I'm not making all them changes. I'm not doing all that. Um, but yeah, I agree. Like you said, it's a big nostalgia trip for a lot of people.
Yeah,
But yeah, obviously, Bungie of today is on a whole different level, gunplay wise.
yeah.
Um,
That the gunplay marathon is absolutely exceptional. Um,
yeah,
I'll be playing. I got to play that new PVE mode that they just released
yeah, because
uh
it's
for this week or
temporary right
whatever.
now, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's temporary. Then they're bringing it to be permanent during season 3 of Marathon. So yeah, I gotta try that. The roguelike PvE. And I was like, okay, that sounds intriguing. Um, yeah, but regardless, cool. I had to purchase it. I had to get it because it's like there's no way I can't not get Halo on PlayStation. It's kind of iconic that the mascot of Xbox is coming to PlayStation. So, you gotta just for history's sake, you gotta actually get it on your PlayStation because it'll never happen again,
Yeah,
supposedly. So,
yeah. This
They
is the
did it.
time to do it.
I read that somewhere that at the end they teased part two.
I mean, of course they do
So,
because it's just a remake. So I mean, everybody knows there's a part two.
but did that make a question if they gonna come part two is gonna be on PlayStation or not?
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, I don't think it'll really matter. Like,
Yeah, it won't.
it is what it is because I mean, I don't think they will because if their whole situation is we're not doing multiplat anymore, then there's really no point in putting um the second remake on PlayStation.
Mm.
Agreed. Yep. Uh, Omar, how are you, sir? And what have you been playing?
Yeah, so as you guys know, I platinum not one, not two, uh, three games last week, and I'm super proud about most of them. So, as you guys know, I was busy with Saros. Saros, I got the plus. Last trophy was atrocious because of the game instructions. Okay, so with Saros, I love the game, but boss fights are far better than Eternal, but with guns, I still prefer Eternal over Saros, especially because of how the final level in Saros is implemented so terrible. Um, I also platinumed Elliot. I got bored with it at the end mostly because of you the map doesn't offer too much differences outside from slight differences here and there. The story was very nice, like it hit you right in the feel. That's all I'm gonna say. I also platinum Carrion. It's a little Metroidvania game where you are a blob and you gotta escape out of a facility. Um, the biggest issue with this one is it have no map, but the area by itself is condensed to the point where you're not gonna feel that lost. And the last game that I played, it's just a Metrovania indie, not my Japanese game. Which what I love about this one, it have the combat from Folklore. If you ever played Folklore on PlayStation or Oninaki from Square Enix, where each button you press, it summons an entity that fights for you. I just love games like that. This one was a quick and easy plat. It didn't take me a long time. Now for gaming purchases, oh no, so I also played a few demos. I actually played the open beta for Dokkan. I'm in love, but at the same time I'm afraid. So the gameplay is insane. The combos are fun. The characters are dynamic. The moves are insane. My biggest qualm is, at least for me, skill issue. But also the way the game is structured. It has so many gameplay mechanics. Like I don't see that when I'm playing Tekken or even when I played the last Dragon Ball game that came out. I think Rising, like compared to Rising, Dokkan is legit. Um, Not per se difficult, but it have a difficult entry if that makes sense. You can play the open beta yourself and check it out. When I play it, I'm probably just gonna play the story and call it a day. I'm not gonna do anything with online or stuff like that. I am interested because I love the character design for everyone. They look phenomenal. And another demo I played is for the Wonderful 101. I think it's remaster. I'm a huge fan of games like Pikmin and with this one, Wonderful 101. So that's absolutely a game that I'm gonna pick up uh, down the road. And lastly, for my gaming purchases, I bought uh, what do we call it? Rise of the Ronin. Tell me why. Just tell me why. The very first 10 minutes that I played the game, I'm like, why is Insomnia Sucker Punch so leaps and bound to Rise of the Ronin? I don't know if it's just me, but the combat in Ghost of Tsushima Yote are million times better than Rise of the Ronin.
I mean, they're not a direct comparison. They're completely different.
Yeah, they have different gameplay and stuff like that. I understand that, but I'm like, damn. It just, yeah. Um, I also bought a Star Wars Outlaw at the very first planet after you leave the game, and I wanted to try the game out before the big update, but couldn't because Ubisoft said, "Fuck you! You're not allowed to play games if you're not online." But I did watch the difference before and after, and I'm like, damn, Ubisoft, how there was nobody to tell you that this is a bad gameplay mechanic to implement. The fact that if you are failed stealth, you gotta restart, that's atrocious. But sadly, they didn't fix one big thing, which is the fucking saving. Saving is so fucking obnoxious in this game. I I don't know how they got away with the saving mechanic because it's one of the worst. Besides that, I also just literally bought Dragon Dogma 2, also physical. I'm so happy with this one, and I'm maybe gonna buy either Wonderful 101 or Armored Core 6 physical. As you guys can see, w- when I can, I'm gonna go physical just for the lot of stuff because it's cheaper, but also you own it. Unless you need internet connection, and then you're fucked. But yeah, that's about it for me. If you got anything out of this, it's play Saros and absolutely play Elliot.
Cool. Yeah. As for me, obviously, um, been playing quite a bit of co-op, like Morgan said. Played the Power Wash Simulator DLC, which was amazing. I enjoyed that thoroughly. Hopefully, they just keep coming out with more, and even more add-ons, and honestly, an expansion, whatever they want to give me for that game, I'll keep taking it. That game is a ton of fun. And then obviously the Halo campaign, which we'll probably finish up tonight, depending on how long the game is. That's been cool too. Like she said, it looks really good, but it definitely feels like a game with a new coat of paint from 2001. Um, and then I finished the platinum and beat um, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Loved it start to finish. They did an amazing job. It was great to be back in that world, and just really just enjoyed uh, getting back to the ships and just having a ball in that world. Again, they just did an incredible job with that. And I hear they're considering some custom new DLC and some other things because the game's been selling so well. So I'm excited for that. Um, but yeah, um, and then I'm almost done with Super Robot Wars Y. I started another playthrough because I had an issue with the playthrough that I had on PlayStation, so I started another playthrough on PC. So that's what's been taking me a while on that one. Um, and then I got a little bit further in Pragmata again. That game just, it's hard to just stop taking pictures in that game. Pragmata just plays like a dream on the PS5 Pro, especially when you pair it with the OLED TV and 120 hertz. Like, Capcom deserves their nickname this year by far. And it looks like Onimusha is just going to add to that. Um, but yeah, I've been playing a little bit of everything here and there. Still playing through some older Fire Emblems and whatnot. Like it's just all over the place. And then still playing through the current new season for Forza Horizon 6. But yeah, I think that's about it for me. But I'm sure I'm forgetting something. But yeah, just a ton of great games to play right now. And speaking of that, um, something not necessarily a topic, but a quick the rumor mill pertaining to more Ubisoft. It sounds like Ghost Recon Wildlands is going to be making a comeback. Um, it's pretty much official. I mean, we've pretty much seen some of the material already, so it looks like they're going to make us wait till about August 6th to fully announce it. Um, Looks like 4K 60, and of course including all the content, so a complete edition coming out for the current gen consoles. Anybody who's played that, I mean, you know how much fun that game can be, solo, co-op, what have you. So yeah, we'll definitely be jumping into that heavy. Um, as I really enjoyed it, and I played it. It was before I uh, met everybody here on the podcast. But Morgan also apparently enjoyed it a lot, so we're definitely going to be playing that. Should they relaunch that title? Hopefully with some proper upgrade paths, but I mean, either way, like I'm playing it no matter what. Because, like I said, I just really, really love that game. Um, that's an incredibly extensive, great co-op experience, and yeah, I'd love to jump back in that and drop another 100+ hours. So yeah, we'll see about that soon once they fully confirm that on Rainbow Six like anniversary. Um, but yeah, our first topic here. This was one, kind of state of the industry. Obviously, we're getting towards the end of the life cycle for the PS5, gearing up for the PS6. You know, the whole industry crisis, the layoffs, the everything. I mean, ultimately, you just get an idea of what everybody's report card would be. Give a grade if you have one, if you can think of one. But basically, um, give your experience or your grade your experience in a grade from this generation based on what you've played um, gaming wise, and then also a separate one for the industry, because obviously if we put them together, one's going to skew the other pretty heavily. So from a gaming perspective, what's your grade this generation? And then from an industry perspective, what would be your grade this generation? We can start with you, man. What would be your grade this generation? Obviously, you've pretty much had every available platform to play on. Um,
No, I do. Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, you've got a wide variety like myself. Um, so as a whole, for the industry, you can give an individual grade per platform if you'd like, or just a general grade for the generation. And then, like I said, and then a grade for the industry. How you feel? Where's the industry at this generation?
I mean, in terms of gaming, I've been thoroughly enjoying myself this generation. I mean, I can't complain there. Anybody who wants to claim that it is a dry generation, or was better last generation, I don't know. Look, you can talk about it individually, like okay, do the Sony exclusive hit as hard as it did last generation? Maybe not. I mean, there's only like with God of War, that first one was such a surprise, and then you got an excellent sequel, but the surprise effect is gone, of course. Um, and Naughty Dog, yeah, basically almost entire generation no show. So in that regard, you can definitely say, there's some lacking. But overall, like I'm not complaining in terms of what we're getting. Like we've said this before, time and time again in this podcast. Like this year, there's an onslaught of games where we just don't have the time to play everything. And I mean, last year we were complaining about the same thing. That it's so packed. And the year before too, like every year. I mean, of course, it was a slow start in a sense, where you kind of still had time to work on your backlog, and sometimes you just have to figure out, okay, what we're gonna play next. But now it's like, you got to make a schedule. There's so much to play. You need a file of facts just to keep track of all the games that are coming out, and I mean, I had like I've pre-ordered so many games that I literally have to make a list for myself so don't forget that. Oh yeah, I pre-ordered stuff. Uh, don't forget that you already did that. And don't make the mistake of pre-ordering it again, because it wouldn't be the first time. Um, so yeah, I mean, in terms of gaming, it's an absolutely fantastic generation. Yeah, I mean, great. I don't know, and on what scale. um, 1 out of 10, I'd say definitely a 9. It's an amazing generation, and I'd say um, that yeah, the in terms of platforms, it kind of depends. Obviously, what you mean, as in are we talking about the first party title output, or in general where you get the most bang for your buck? I mean, I've had the most enjoyment PlayStation, that's for sure, until they dropped that bombshell. But and probably still will, considering that if the PS6 comes out in 2028, and that's when they stop making physical games, that's the end of the PS5 generation. So it has been a great run up until that point. I'd say that's kind of the funny thing, is because if you have to think about it individually, then they all have a bit lackluster, right? Because PlayStation had a bit of issues with their distractions with sort of live service. Um, Xbox has been a terrible mess this entire, well, for 2 generations straight now. Um, Yeah, Nintendo also, like despite the fact that they're still successful, I mean, it is also fair to say that like the Switch 2 launch uh, wasn't great in terms of what it actually gave you, as in Switch 2 exclusives. No, they went. Yeah, and what would you have when at launch? Mario Kart World, which is still, I think most people that I know still just prefer to play 8, because that's the better game. Like Mario Kart World is just a very limited version of that game. That's slightly different, and that's why it's trying to justify its cost, but it's not. There's nothing about that sort of says, oh yeah, we need to drop any previous version and play this. Uh, yeah, I mean, and PC will be PC, obviously, but there's no. Uh, I'd say that's kind of the thing. Is like, yeah, PC. I can finally play all these games that are basically unavailable on console, or not playable, like with RTS strategy games. Um, but in terms of multiplats, yeah, I mean the PS5, especially the Pro, was so competently made that you didn't really need to uh, go to PC unless there was a very good reason, unless that the game was poorly optimized, or very compromised, or yeah, if you wanna enjoy using mods to make your experience better, to sort of deal with some of the gameplay decisions that are can be detrimental to your enjoyment of the game. Um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, overall, I think the gaming generation was great. As for the industry, that's -1. It's fucking awful. Um, I mean, yeah. I mean, what company really has much positive things to say? Like, yeah. I mean, Nintendo is in this case the least awful, but they still do shitty things, and they're um, and they would still try to steal your kidney and sell it, if they could get away with it. If they could put that in terms of service, they would. Um, but yeah, Xbox has been an absolute disaster with completely failing their gambit with buying Activision Blizzard, and then forcing them to become a third party, and now the AI uh, bros and sisters have taken over, and it's like a fire sale. They're trying to turn this around, but probably to the point where either they can sell it or break it up, or just turn it into yeah, turn themselves into a third party publisher basically, uh, while pretending that they're not, I suppose. I mean, all of this, other things like the studios either closing or being sold off or going independent, canceling games, their focus on their marquee franchises, where they completely take away the appeal of what Game Pass had. No, the indies, the unusual smaller titles. Um, yeah, and PlayStation with their disastrous for focus on trying to capture the chasing the dragon with live service, and yeah, what they're doing now, killing physical, which to me is a fatal self-inflicted wound, because yeah, I'm anticipating that that's gonna have way more effect than they hoped, and that a lot of their defenders are yeah, can comprehend, because it has sort of a I'd say it's sort of like the like a Jenga tower basically, and I'm afraid that they pull one piece too many, and that tower is going to crumble, um, without them yeah, fully being aware of that right now. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna give any of the the big three a passing grade in that sense. And the industry, like with layoffs, with the um, yeah, people constantly claiming that there's going to be a crunch or a crash, or yeah, I'm in a sense, like I don't think gaming is gonna die, or gonna go like have the the ET um, game market crash, but there's probably gonna be a fallout from this. There's gonna be a sort of self-inflicted um, yeah, or self-fulfilling prophecy, in the sense that they're constantly so worried about that crash, or worried about the rising costs and their bottom line, that they're eventually are going to cause that crash. Like, what I'm thinking of PlayStation, I think their decision to they're probably afraid that the PS6 is going to do less well than the PS5, because they know they have to sell it at a insane price where people will just not be able to afford it. And I think they were overcorrecting there to anticipate that, like, oh yeah, we just need to maximize, profits, and need to maximize our revenue from a smaller group of consumers, uh, and we're gonna just screw them over any way we can, just to make sure that we can get as much money out of them as soon as possible. I think it's going to come back to bite them, because I think that's going to have uh, accelerate that sort of expected well, reduction in their revenue for the PS6, because they're just making it even more unappealing. because they're taking away more than just more than just charging the same price that kind of blurs the distinction between console and PC. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Xbox can do much better considering they're also talking about their PC hybrid console that probably doesn't have a disk drive either. And I'm sure that Nintendo, I mean, as much as I would say, Nintendo might be the only one holding out there that they still have physical cartridge. Just, I mean, I'm not forgetting that they try to do the exact same thing with their game key cards, and that kind of that kind of come back from that, but mostly because the developers and publishers found out the hard way that people are buying less of their games when they release it on game cards and if the game is actually on the cartridge. So that sort of evened each other out to the point where there's sort of 50-50 games are either on game card or on game key. But yeah, I mean, it's not from lack of trying because Nintendo literally forced developers to buy or use these game key cards because they didn't make the smaller, more cheaper option available as a game card, which just forced indie developers and smaller games to basically opt for the game key card option. So yeah, I mean, I'm again like it's the duality of man. Like I love gaming, I love the games where we're getting and still gonna get. But yeah, the industry as a whole is yeah not healthy. That's probably the kindest thing I can say about it. And I do hope that yeah, it passes, it gets better, maybe reconsider, but some of their decisions. And I mean, it doesn't like even though I'm not naive enough to think that Sony is going to reverse their decision on physical games. Things might be not necessarily linear. Things might be cyclical. I mean, we've seen with vinyl that in music that made a comeback. We've seen that with with Blu-rays as well. Books are still there. In a sense, while I'm not saying everything is the same, and that there's not a trend towards all digital, or I'm going to be sort of cautiously optimistic that there might always be a market for physical games, and maybe in one way or another it might survive, or God forbid, maybe somebody else, maybe Sega is going to turn and come back and with the Dreamcast too, say, hey, we have a disk drive, and if you want to have options, come to us. I don't know. That's copium, I know, but it is, yeah. In that sense, stranger things have happened in this industry. So I mean, I think nobody would have anticipated like a couple of generations ago that Microsoft would buy Activision, or really a PlayStation would be killing physical games. So I would not rule out anything in that sense. So and I mean, and I guess I kind of have to because I do want to keep on enjoying this hobby, which I will. I mean, I will probably keep on gaming until I die. It just yeah, hopefully it will be with as many options as possible, and yeah, not them trying to control how you play, what you play, and taking away any sense of ownership. So in the end result, you're completely dependent on yeah. What they give you, and you just have to accept it, and you have to pay whatever you want because that's kind of what they uh, would like, but obviously it's not going to be sustainable. It's not going to be that. Then there is truly no future for gaming if that's how we're going. But again, like I said, things are probably much more cyclical than we think they are. They might just yeah circle back to simpler times in a way where people say, hey, physical media that was actually kind of cool. But yeah, who knows? So yeah, that's my assessment And they okay.
I know. I think
Morgan,
it.
what's your
Tony said he was dealing with maintenance right now.
all right.
But yeah, I'm kind of on the same wavelength as you. Like, as far as the games go, they've been absolutely phenomenal. I can't really complain at all in that department. This generation, I'm playing way more games than I ever have. Well, also due to the fact that I'm of my own income now. I'm an adult, but also there's just so many options right now. There's just so many great games to play. And I've been branching out of my comfort zone in terms of genre to play, right? Like, meeting you guys have introduced me to JRPGs, which I have grown to love. And I'm slowly increasing my library into the JRPG genre, and I'm very much so enjoying that. Um, have been trying out roguelikes, roguelites, enjoying that. Even tried some Souls games and found out that I don't like that. But hey, I gave it a fair shot. I put my hand into it. So, I've been just really branching out, and I've been really going in on the single A and double A games, the indies, giving playing a lot of those games, them being some of my favorite games have been the smaller games this generation. They have just been doing, any developers have just been doing extraordinary things, and truly kind of being the groundbreaking leaders of game development right now. Especially in the wake of, the all the issues with AAA. But yeah, I have just been gaming so much. So I really have no complaints. And you guys know I'm a primarily PS5 player. Um, but yeah, that's where I've been doing all my gaming. And every year I try to one up myself and beat more games and get more platinums and, you know, try to chip away at that backlog a little by little, even though I'm not really doing that as much. If anything, I'm increasing my backlog. But, I'm okay with that because my backlog is filled with games that if push comes to shove and I ever have to stop gaming for whatever reason, and, I don't buy any new games, I still have like a plethora of games that I can go back to and complete. Um, yeah, so games, 10 out of 10 for me, as far as the quality goes. Like, there's always going to be some duds and some games that you don't like or some games that just kind of were meh. But for the most part, especially if you know yourself as a gamer and you know what kind of games you like, you can pretty much filter through games that are either going to be just outright bad or just games that are just not for you. And it's important to know the difference, right? Because there are plenty of games that aren't bad, they're just not what I like. So there's just not games that I'm going to play. But yeah, I've just been gaming more than ever. So I can't really say anything negative about the quality of games because they've all been great, as far as what I've been playing. And I'm looking forward to even more, especially coming up this fall. It's going to be absolutely insane with games to play. What'd you say?
No, I thought you were going to mention that crazy February because you said even, and I thought you were going to go into 2027. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. I
like
mean,
you
even
said, even before we
2027.
get there, you know.
Yeah, like it falls insane. Like I think I have 4 games, maybe 5 in August, and even more in September and October. Like it's just there's just so many games, and they're all games I'm looking forward to playing. I'm gonna try my best to play them day one and finish them, and hopefully platinum them. So, yeah, the overall quality of gaming for me, I don't really get the sentiment like we've said. I don't get the sentiment of people who say like this generation's terrible or there's been nothing to play because. Like if you say that it's one of two things. You're either like a ball and gun gamer, like all you do is play live service. You play Call of
True.
Duty every single year, and that's all you play, and for whatever reason, you refuse to branch out and try other things. um or it's like you only care about the big blockbuster Hollywood AAA games, and those are the only games you play, right? Like, yeah, like there's too many good games for you to be stuck on either one genre or one type of game, bro. Like, please, please, people, like, try to get out of your comfort zone. I know gaming is expensive. I'm not saying break out the 70, $80+ to try something, but there are plenty of games that are on sale right now that are, worth a shot. Like if you have that one game that's in the backlog, or you've been waiting to try a game and it's finally on sale, do it. You know, try something new. You never know. And if you really don't know how you're going to like it, there's plenty of reviews out there for all types of games. So definitely don't, just don't tie yourself down to just one particular type of game. But outside of the gaming, we have to look at the not so bright side, which is the industry itself. Yeah, it's like a complete dark difference. Like, like I said, gaming was like a 10 in the industry. Right now it's like a 2 or a 3 for me. Between, the consistent layoffs that are happening, consistent studios being shut down, games being canceled, the increase of, the funding behind games costing, hundreds of millions, and every year, that number goes up, and because that number goes up, they expect more profits, and because of that, if they don't reach said profits, one game is essentially the end all be all for a lot of studios. Like, you get one shot and that's it. And which makes which honestly makes this even sadder, because there are so many games, and I've mentioned this before on previous podcasts, that didn't really hit the first game, right? They didn't really move the needle. They weren't the greatest of a franchise. Thinking about Uncharted, right? Imagine if Naughty Dog only got the first chance to make Uncharted, and it was Uncharted 1, and then after that it was like, okay, no more Uncharted for you. Right? Because it didn't hit the metric we wanted to do. It didn't hit the Metacritic we wanted it to do. It didn't hit the sales that we wanted it to. So you don't get another chance. That's it. Right? We never would have gotten, the amazing Uncharted series and the spin-offs and everything like that, and then moved on to The Last of Us, right? It's just like, oh, you're shut down now because you failed. And that's kind of the sad thing. It's like these studios don't really get a chance to, make that one hiccup, that one mistake, and learn from it, listen to fan feedback, and implement what, the fans like, especially if you have the core and the base that's good. You got the foundation of a good game. Like, there's something here for people that want it, right? There's something here that you can make into something great. But the publishers no longer want to give studios that chance. It's like you have to make that hit the first time out, which is, when you think about it, just absolutely insane, because it's like, nobody hits 10 for 10 all the time. People are going to make mistakes. But because of how money hungry the gaming industry is right now, and then on top of that you add in uh the pressure now because of the hardware crisis with the chips and the RAM and things like that, that's also playing a major factor into why studios are getting shut down, because it's like, now that these publishers and manufacturers are feeling the pressure of having to, make up for the cost of these high, hardware components. Now they have to look to their studios to be like, okay, well, we're going to have to make some cuts somewhere. We're going to have to get this money back somewhere. So it's like, anybody who's seen as a, liability essentially is just gone. And we've kind of seen that with Xbox. I mean, there's obviously a lot more problems stemming from Xbox's situation, from like many of the mistakes that they've made through previous generations that have led to this point. But we're seeing kind of that ripple effect of everything that happened. And then you also have to add into this generation has been crazy, because you also have to add in the factor of like COVID, and how that essentially was just like this giant wave that just fucked everything up after that. I mean, even to this day, we're still seeing the ripple effects from that, because so many games take 5 to 6 years, right? COVID was like 2020, 2021, and here's 2025, and we're in 2026, going on 2027. And a lot of the games that maybe would have came out a couple years or a few years ago are just coming out now because of COVID and everything that it did, and the delays that it caused. And again, like, a lot of the reason we're not getting certain games and from certain studios, or it's been taking a while for others, is because of that, right? So it's like, you got the RAM, you got COVID, you got increasing prices, you got PlayStation coming out of nowhere with the killing physical discs, right? And again, I said this either the last podcast or the podcast before last, that I think it was inevitable that I think the discs that were going to be gone from PlayStation, but I think it was amplified and it was kind of fast tracked because of the situation with the chips and the RAM crisis. Like they were just like, okay, hardware is going to be very expensive for us to make and manufacture. We're not going to sell that many, so we're going to have to figure out how to cut costs and how to get the most out of each gamer. And so in order to do that, we're going to have to cut out the middleman, which is the third party retailers and physical discs, and just make people buy from our store so that we can get more money back, since we're not going to be recouping the price in hardware anymore. And we're probably not going to get as many players into the PlayStation ecosystem with PS6 as we would have if this whole AI situation hadn't happened. So I personally believe that we didn't have this AI thing, I think they would have waited till PS7 to introduce a diskless future for PlayStation. But again, because of this whole situation, they were just like, oh, nope, we got to do it now. So the PlayStation doing that. And then, like I said, mentioned before, Xbox, like axing a lot of the studios. I mean, the good thing about that situation is that they at least just, allowed them to essentially buy out their contracts and they could go do their own thing. They're just not a part of Xbox anymore, which is at least a good thing in that. But there still was a massive amount of layoffs happening within all of Xbox, which is it's very sad. And I don't, again, I don't think it's gonna stop. There's more to happen, and then obviously there's gonna be more with PlayStation too. I see PlayStation probably doing some layoffs too, probably by the middle of the year, and probably another hardware, price increase, and possibly a PS Plus price increase. It's just the industry as a whole right now is just so unstable, and again, with that looming boogeyman of hardware continuously going up year over year because it's supposed to get even worse next year. That is like, again, fast tracking all of the issues that we're seeing right now with the industries just being and especially with the obviously hardware manufacturers of PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo just being money hungry and having to find ways to make up for the losses that they're seeing. Because we saw PlayStation's last financial statement that they sold worse than I think ever in their history for the month of either May or June. So it was just we're just going to be seeing them try to find that money elsewhere. With again, this is why the industry itself is just not something that I'm happy with right now, and the only kind of sunshine that I'm kind of seeing is the games themselves, because even with the situation of how terrible, gaming as far as the policies and things like that go, the creativity I'm seeing in gaming is at an all-time high, which is great. AAA is kind of seeming to kind of go downhill in terms of quality sometimes, but there's still the single and double A studios out there that are really pushing it to the limit. And, as long as they're still there and they're still thriving, I think we're still going to have a good, gaming community overall. I think we can only just kind of hope that this ship kind of steers itself and corrects itself. But, with everything going on, it seems like this is going to be a looming problem for like another 2 or 3 years. So I don't know. I mean, I don't see the next generation of Xbox and PlayStation doing that well, to be honest. I think it's pretty obvious the launch is not going to be at the same level that the launch of, PS5 and Series X was. Um, and I don't really know how they're going to convince the masses to jump ship. Like, it was hard enough to convince people to jump ship from PS4 to PS5 at the beginning. Obviously uh, there was like limitation in the amount of hardware because people were scalping it, and it was like, obviously, like I said, with COVID, it was hard to get supplies and everything like that. So, it was hard to sell the first couple years and hard for people to get their hands on. But if they are able to make enough PlayStations for everybody, I still don't think they're going to be selling that many, especially with the fact that, it's probably going to be $1,000 plus to get a PS6 at this point. So yeah, I don't know how exactly they're going to do it. and I don't even know if I'm gonna be a part of whatever PlayStation's doing next. But at the end of the day, I'm a gamer, so I'm gonna go where the games are. I'm gonna be fine. Yeah, and PlayStation's failure or success is not on me. It's not my business. That's theirs to figure out. So, it is what it is. But I'm still having a great time playing great games, and I cannot wait for next month because it's going to be another. It's frustrating, trying to juggle all these games, but it's also a fun time. And like Nate mentioned earlier, February is going to be crazy because I was just like, oh my God, when they announced God of War Lao Fei for, what was it, February the 16th, I was like, oh my God, that's like right in the middle of everything, because then Fable comes out the week after, and then I think Persona Revival comes out like, I think a couple days after that or before that. And then Tomb Raider Catalyst also comes out like a week before. So I'm just like, oh my God, like, but we all know February is always busy because that's like right before like the financial statements and everything like that have to, the quarterly reports have to come out. So they're all trying to release before then to kind of get that bump in their quarterly reports. So yeah, it is what it is though. I will find the time to play these games as I always do. So yeah, that's kind of my grade. 10 out of 10 for games. Industries gets like a 2 for me.
Cool. No, I agree with a lot of that as well. Like you said, the gaming itself has been phenomenal personally. So yeah, I agree. Omar, what is uh, what is your opinion on the industry here, sir? Your grade for gaming, and then of course your grade for the industry.
So we've been doing a podcast for what, 100 episode right now. Um, every single week we come on here, we spend around 40 minutes just strictly talking about what we're playing. This generation have been phenomenal when it comes to games. Like some amazing video games in general. Some games you never thought they would ever release. Um, with that being said, the industry by itself is dog shit right now. It literally is the water. And I don't know if they're gonna get out of it. We have like n- no faction is doing well, whether PlayStation, whether Xbox, whether PC, whether component prices. Like gaming as a whole have gone so pricey compared to what used to be. But yeah, no. When it comes to video games, you just mentioned February. Literally talk about in a few weeks we're gonna get Beast of Reincarnation. That's a game I'm super excited about. And and then you have Final Fantasy Renaissance, and so on and so on. Gaming have been absolutely phenomenal. But people are clowning me because where I was going with my monologue. I was going because um, I just can't comprehend people that said gaming this generation have been trash from gaming standpoint. Like that's why. Um, and we just got the release date for Love. It's gonna be crazy. Um, fuck you, PlayStation, but damn, you make phenomenal games.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were done.
You know,
Uh,
because Morgan and we've talked about the industry at all. I'm not gonna regurgitate the exact same thing. So,
yeah, you're
yeah,
good.
I agree with their point, but other
Oh,
point.
all good. Yeah. As for myself, obviously, the same. Like gaming has just been really great. If anything, it's expanded now more than ever. Um, we are getting a lot of things that people have wanted, to the point where, Vanillaware is even now, you know, down with porting their games to PC as well. So games are now, you know, pretty much, from a third party standpoint, um, more available than they've ever been. Um, we're having a ton of success in the indie space and with new IPs from newly created teams that have left some of these larger teams. Like honestly, the success on the lower budget side, um, and indie or higher end indie types and double A has just been really good. Like I said, just the games to come out this generation have been phenomenal. Um, I've gotten remakes or remasters of games I didn't think were gonna ever be a thing. Things I wouldn't even fix my mouth to ask for because I thought they wouldn't happen. Like the collection for Mega Man Battle Network, which is huge for me. I grew up playing that series, and to see them come out with that was insane. I bought that immediately, day one. Absolutely been loving it. It is a ton of games, so it will take me a while to complete them, but again, just a crazy collection. We got the collection from Square with Final Fantasy 1 through 6. Um, like honestly, it's just been crazy. And then we got one of my personal favorites because it is my second favorite game of all time, Suikoden 1 and 2. Suikoden 2 being my second favorite game of all time. And I love the way they did the remaster for that. You get the experience that I had, when I originally played, because they basically did a 1-to-1. They just cleaned everything up and made it HD, which is perfect for a lot of JRPGs. They still stand the test of time. They don't need a bunch of adjustments. They don't need to be remade into something that they weren't, but just a nice remaster. And yeah, that's been really great to see a bunch of people get to play Suikoden for the first time and be able to experience 1 and 2 as they were. One with some of its limited storage and other issues, but still a great game. But yeah, like I said, as a whole, it's just been great. I mean, we something for everybody, which is, like I said, not something we could always say in history. I play a large enough variety of games that I'm usually pretty good on that as well. So, usually it's not a problem for me. Like Morgan was saying, the only way you really feel that way is if you play like an extremely limited amount of games. We always joke that even Priscilla, she's always like, "Oh, I have nothing to play," because she's the type that like she has a specific set that she plays, and even we keep finding games that she hadn't considered or whatnot that she's having a ball with as well this generation. While there have been issues, industry wise with performance and things of that nature from certain developers under delivering. For the most part, the rest of the industry has just been really thriving as far as again game releases themselves. So yeah, game releases for me, A plus. From a gaming perspective, top tier. Um, but yeah, I'm inclined to agree with what everybody else said. As far as the industry goes, it's just been a mess. Morgan said a lot of it as well with COVID and whatnot. Like this whole entire generation has literally been a roller coaster, unlike anything we've ever seen before. Um, we are literally talking about COVID to Apocalypse to like it's just all over the place. The downfall and understanding of Game Pass and the detriments that has on cannibalizing sales, like we said it did. Like there's just so many things that have popped up. So but yeah, industry wise, definitely I agree with Morgan at like a 3. It's some people are successful. We have seen some great success stories. A lot of newer teams coming up and coming, getting able to create some amazing works, some great triumphs. Expedition 33, again coming from a team originally largely comprised of Ubisoft devs, and then a bunch of unknowns that have never even worked on a video game before. to come together to create something that took the industry by storm. So yeah, we got to see some incredible stories just take place in the industry as a whole. But yeah, it definitely needs some stabilization. Some things gotta get better, because ultimately, we can't have the people who are out here making these games, you know, feeling like they're underappreciated. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I'm thankful for that all the time, because without them, we wouldn't have these amazing titles. And I want more and more brilliant people to be able to enter the industry and be able to feel like they can freely create, so we can continue to get amazing games, and our generation and the next generation and the generation before us can continue to enjoy those. Um, but yeah, um, so moving on, segueing over to our next topic here. So Xbox recently announced a back compat program for PC. Um, an interesting thing to happen. Honestly, I didn't see this coming myself. One of the main things that you constantly see about people who are on PC and still have their Xbox or what have you is usually the backwards compatibility, right? Like it's a big thing. Um, Obviously you can emulate, but emulation is not without its issues, right? There's plenty of emulation issues on PC where you're trying to play some of these titles. I know personally, um, you know, Lost Odyssey has a ton of issues with its ROM. Some people are able to get around it. There's some fixes for it and stuff, but honestly, you just kind of want to play the game, and you can do that on Xbox. And so, if this backwards compatibility comes through the way it looks, it's looking like it's going to basically even that playing field where now you have access to all of your titles across PC and Xbox, because that's kind of been the growing thing. Like if you had Game Pass, you would see like, oh, I have 910 games versus 840 on PC. So you knew, hey, a bunch of these games that I have that are older can't be played over there and what have you. And this is honestly really, really big for PC. Because there's also some ports or certain titles as well um, that don't necessarily play all that well on PC on occasion. Some of the older titles, I know Final Fantasy 13, people were saying had some issues. There is like one really easy way to fix it all, but again, another thing, you just want to play it and you just want it to work. So if the backwards compatibility program can kind of fix and take care of all this stuff as far as what's tied to Xbox, I think it makes a good argument for um, playing and using Play Anywhere or whatnot, and playing your games on PC via the Xbox app, which they need, right? They desperately want you over there. They want you to spend your money over there. So give me a reason to, right? Create a compatibility state where it's going to work out great, and I'm going to have no issues playing titles on your platform, because that's the issue and the uphill battle that they've been facing for a while now. But yeah, this is like I said, a really exciting endeavor, especially we joining me back on PC, um, Omar getting his PC situation straight, and Morgan potentially joining us in the future. And I know personally, based on her preferences, she would really enjoy Lost Odyssey. So I think that's exciting for her potential future purchase into PC or the Xbox platform or what have you. Like she said, she's gonna go where the games are. Um, but yeah, like I said, this is exciting news in a wake of all the negative news and all the layoffs and what have you at Xbox. Um, but yeah, like I said, I don't think anybody has any major things for this, but like I said, the general excitement for this is obviously some of the games that have been trapped over there that will no longer be, provided they continue with this and give us all the games that are backwards compatible on Xbox. Um, did you want to add anything? Obviously, you're on it Xbox and you just got your brand new PC, so
Yeah, I mean, what took you so long? Um, yeah, does kind of make the Xbox obsolete now because that was the primary reason why I bought the Series X because I wanted to play games like Lost Odyssey, which were orphaned on an obsolete platform. Uh, But yeah, I mean, great news. Like, yeah, it's kind of funny in a way that Microsoft, by doing something, yeah, seems to be quite small with a select few titles. Essentially, yeah, doing more for game preservation than PlayStation seems to do right now. Um, but yeah, I mean, kudos to them for doing this, for making these games available. It yeah does indeed avoid other people to have to make yeah if they want to play to make the same choice. I gotta get a yeah an obsolete piece of hardware to to have the option to play these games. Um, yeah, assuming they're gonna come. But yeah, I mean, great if let them continue doing this. Let them ensure that that catalog is available. I mean, I wouldn't say technically it's preserved because probably it will not be available in a DRM-free format, but still, at least it gives you an option to play these games if you missed out on them, if you didn't have the 360 and haven't bought the Series, yeah, Series X to play these games via back compat. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, you can say I wish PlayStation would do that, but they pulled back from PC. Plus, we know that we're never going to see native support for the PS3 games in any iteration unless they remake them
Mm-hmm.
or remaster them. So yeah, it is. Um, yeah, let's not dwell on PlayStation. Yeah, great initiative. So and it doesn't sort of brush away all the negative news surrounding Xbox, but it certainly it yeah it is a positive. You know, I say overall. So yeah, um, yeah, I'm happy that they're doing it.
Cool. Sounds good. Morgan, obviously you're not there yet, but does the idea of being able to do this excite you a little bit more about potentially, a move to PC in the future, given that it would give you access to some of the games that I know that, you grew up with Fable and whatnot, but also, some of the other titles trapped on older Xbox titles?
No. Um, I
Mean.
mean, like, I'm interested in PC, but I don't really care about, Xbox's backward compatibility. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just I personally am not interested in it. But I think it's a cool initiative for them to do. Interesting in a time where they're trying to double down on selling their hardware that they made their hardware less necessary. Um, Very interesting move because I know like Weeb, I know quite a few people who have an Xbox simply because they wanted to access older Xbox titles. And so that was an incentive for them to buy an Xbox. And now Xbox is like, "Oh, don't worry about that. You don't have to buy one anymore because we're just going to put all the games on that other platform." I'm just like, "Hmm, interesting." I think it's great in terms of preservation and things like that. Like we've said, we wish PlayStation would do something about that in terms of their preservation because they really don't seem to care about anything prior to PS4, to be honest. Um, but like I said, it's cool in terms for that, but it's kind of got me scratching my head in terms of like I don't know how this is going to incentivize people to get
To
into
get an
your
Xbox.
to get an
Yep.
Xbox. Um, because like it's like what is that special sauce that's going to be exclusive to Xbox? Because we already know they don't have exclusives. Like there's things that are exclusive to or exclusive from PlayStation and Nintendo, but there's nothing exclusive now from the PC side. And now that you're about to make a box that'll essentially most likely, excuse me, cost the price of a PC,
Mm-hmm.
why would I get that over a PC?
Which you can
Um,
customize and upgrade, exactly.
yeah. So I mean, I'm not gonna shit on the program. That's cool. It's cool they're doing it. Cool. but I don't understand it in the grand scheme of their plans. When Asha says that she's trying to make the platform more enticing or the console more enticing and increase um you know the value of the console. Maybe she's got some other things that she's planning on doing that we haven't been revealed yet. And obviously there's still time before these next generation consoles go, so there could be something cool in the works. But yeah, that seemed kind of like the last bastion of why you may have both a PC and an Xbox, right? Because there's some people who do. And that was kind of the last reason as to why, like, well, yeah, I'm holding on to it for backwards compatibility. And now that seems to be, obviously it's not all the games, it's like just 4 right now, but they said they're going to be continuing the program, and they're, continuing to add more games into the PC backwards compatibility program. So I'm just like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's it. But at the end of the day, regardless of what their intention is and how it helps the Xbox platform, I do think it's a cool initiative that they're doing it. But for me personally, I don't care about really like older Xbox games like that. Like, I don't really go much. I don't really play old games that much. Um, so it's not really an enticing offer for me.
No, that makes sense. Obviously, Omar, I know for you in particular, this would be big. You being on PC already, not having to deal with the emulation and being able to directly play Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey like you've been wanting to. So I know that much in and of itself should excite you.
Yeah, that's literally the two games that I want to play out of this entire situation. And I'm curious about if they're doing this to avoid any additional licensing issue.
Yeah, I mean,
Be-
this could be a way around it.
It feels that's the reason why. Otherwise, why would you put everything game under the sun and leave out Blue Dragon and what you call it, Odyssey? So it's gonna be interesting to see how they're gonna deal with it with this one. Um, it does feel okay. So I feel like it's gonna be gimmicky, if that make any sense. It's like that's not a reason for you to go and get yourself an Xbox, for example. Um, I'm curious what the limit is with this one. Um, yeah. I'm done. It's just curious how Usher is moving right now. So we're gonna see what she's gonna do about that if she stick with it or stop it. But yeah, no, Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon, here I come.
No doubt. Yes, I mean, like we said, that should be an interesting endeavor. But yeah, it's probably got a lot more to do with Helix and their upcoming projects, and we'll see how that goes. Like Morgan said, we don't know the full story on all that stuff yet, so there's probably more things that'll make this make more sense as we get closer. But hey, look, more benefits for me being on PC, so I'm not mad. Just get that, like I said, get that back compat program on up to the 360 and give me the games I want, and I'm good to go. So I'm with that. And other um, Xbox news, obviously one of the big things that came out, um, later after the initial reset and some of the layoffs, Xbox went on to state basically what is the new focus for them as a platform. Xbox focusing on their highest priority titles and IPs with high ROI and divestment capabilities. Obviously, something like Fallout, where they're able to have Fallout 76, the other Fallout titles, Fallout remakes, and remasters, as well as the Fallout TV show. So basically, things of that nature they can really kind of spread out. Wolfenstein is among that as well. With the Wolfenstein, I think TV show, not movie. I'm pretty sure it's a TV show. but another title that they can kind of divest and split off and basically make more money from than just gaming. Um, Now, obviously, everybody remembers the famous Halo Gears and Forza. Um, so at first, right now, this seems like a great idea. Obviously, focusing on the titles that are really selling, that are really growing, putting your teams to work on, some of the highest return you can really think of, right? Obsidian going to work on a new Fallout in the meantime, not Fallout 5, but they're kind of their own thing. It sounds like there was a project already in the works um, that that's kind of been going on. That looks like the new studio director for the upcoming Fallout project is going to be working on. Um, that's going to be a big thing for them as well. Um, and then obviously the Doom team was cut in half, but it was kind of interesting because Doom was also stated as one of those important IPs. So I'm interested to see what they're gonna kind of do. I know they're also more of a technical specialist when it comes to some of the optimizations and things that they work on. Um, and they kind of talked about a little bit about um, basically being more efficient with some of their teams and utilizing some of that cross-platform or cross-training and stuff between teams. Letting them benefit, kind of more so like PlayStation does. That internal competition, but also helping each other. As each of the teams thrive within whatever it is they're creating. Obviously, you've also got Turn 10, who was now basically turned into a support studio for the Forza Horizon team. And then, of course, the other part of that team working on Fable, which is another big important IP for them. So they've got quite a few. But my question really is this the great move that we think it is, or are we in danger of another Halo, Gears, and Forza? Like, do we potentially foresee, uh, you know, IP fatigue showing up and being a thing if they ultimately depend on these too much, kind of the way that, again, Halo is still going, right? Gears is still going. They're doing the reboot for Gears, but, word on the street, even from a lot of people who like Gears, a lot of people are thinking Gears isn't going to do that well. It's a little long in the tooth. It hasn't really reinvented itself after being on the market so long. Same with Halo. Um, so yeah, I mean, is this a winning strategy that we feel, or you feel like you need to see more? Morgan, how are you feeling about this one?
Um, yeah, that is the big question, right? Is this going to be the plan that actually works? Because we've seen even with just if we were just looking at this generation, we've seen Xbox make a lot of plans and then scrap them and try something else and scrap them again and try something else. Like we've seen Xbox, acquire a lot, and then go to a point where, they were trying to put all these games in Game Pass and then like, oh, Call of Duty's too much for Game Pass. Let's take that out. And oh, we're not making our money back. Let's put games on PlayStation. And then oh, we're not going to do that anymore. It's just that they try a lot of things, right? So now their latest plan is to, as Asha puts it, focus on their core IPs. Focus on, I guess, what they deem what makes them great, and that will be what they plan to put out. I think Asha was saying that she feels she doesn't want to take, as far as like double A and single A games go, she's like, we need to leave that for those studios. She doesn't want to take shine away from smaller studios and let them make those games, and Xbox will support them, put those games on Game Pass, publish them, or, give funding, whatever, right? And Xbox themselves will focus on the bigger IPs. Um, do I think that'll work? I think that at this point in Xbox's tenure, I don't think they really have much of a choice um, to not do this. I think this was really the only plan they could do. Um, as we saw from their financial statements, they're just bleeding right now. They are in the red. They are lower than everyone else when it comes to revenue and profits. They're just not in a position right now where they can be funding creative projects and passion projects and experimental games and, oh, let's figure out like if this is going to be a cool thing, quirky thing. I don't think they're in a position to do that, right? They're not in a leading position where they have money to kind of blow, or they have like, oh, we have these other games that'll kind of pad the loss of your game. So it's fine if you want to kind of do some quirky things. And that's kind of what Phil and his reign did with a lot of the smaller studios like Compulsion and Ninja Theory and things like that, right? The point that, he allowed them to kind of make these creative games because he had all these other games with Bethesda and Activision, Call of Duty and everything like that, and Minecraft and Candy Crush to kind of pad the loss of whatever these other studios were doing, right? But we as we see right now, all these losses we're not able to be covered anymore, right? It's to the point where it's just all in the red, and they can't have these experimental games anymore. So Asha's just like, we're going to cut our ties. We're going to help fund your next game. We're going to, allow you to go off and be independent. But right now we're going to focus on our main games right now, our main core games. And the question at the end of the day is really going to be, it's going to be down to the quality of the games, right? Because if the games aren't good at all, it doesn't matter that they're the core. It doesn't matter that it's Halo or Gears or Forza or Elder Scrolls or Fallout or whatever, right? Because if they're not good games, it doesn't matter that they've trimmed, quote unquote, the fat of their studios, that they've dwindled down to a smaller, more compact and lighter team that they can just kind of focus on, the elite games. Because if the games aren't good, nobody's going to care, right? So at the end of the day, it's going to be about whether Asha can facilitate good studio work ethic and produce great games. And we haven't been able to see that because obviously she hasn't been there long enough to kind of see what kind of leader she is when it comes to game production. Everything that we've seen thus far has been kind of like the ripple effect of Phil's reign as head of Xbox. So I think 2027 is where we're kind of going to see what she does and how she is as a leader. And at the end of the day, she's obviously not developing the games, but she's the person that's going to be there to kind of check mark and kind of give her stamp of approval or tell this game that it's not, hitting, this is not good, it's not hitting the benchmarks we want, or this, we've tested it within internally and, people aren't happy with it. You need to change something, this needs to happen, you need to make sure you're hitting these dates, you need to make sure that you're not falling behind on production, we need this done by June 2027, whatever, right? She's the person that needs to be facilitating these kind of things. So we're going to see how she is and who she is as a leader, and if she can get it done. Because when we look back at Phil and how he did, like, again, he's buddy, he's cool, everybody loved him, he's Uncle Phil and all these things. But when it comes to being a leader, he was very lax in that he kind of let studios get away with things. He let them do what they wanted to do. He wasn't really pushing for quality. He was more pushing towards quantity. He just wanted, he wanted to fill Game Pass. He wanted to make sure that Game Pass had a bunch of games in it, and to kind of give the impression that there was a lot going on for Game Pass, and like, hey, subscribe to this, subscription service because there's a whole lot of games in there. They may not be the quality, but hey, there's a bunch of games in Game Pass, and that's kind of what he was doing. He was just give me content for Game Pass, give me content for Game Pass. He really didn't care. It seems, at least from the way he led things, he didn't really care about the quality of the games that went into there. But Asha seems to kind of be, her leadership stance seems to be, from what I've read from all of her papers and her articles and her interviews, it seems to be her stance is, I am the opposite of Phil. Because she kind of keeps bringing, she doesn't bring Phil's name up, but she kind of positions herself to be like, I'm different from the last regime. The last regime made all these mistakes. I'm just here to kind of clean up what they did. So don't blame me for this stuff. This is based on things that are happening now, are based on decisions that were made prior to me coming here, and I'm having to fix everything that's happening right now, which is fair because it's true. But that's kind of seems to what her position is. She's trying to be like, I'm not Phil. I'm going to be a different, brighter light for Xbox. I'm going to be that quality control for Xbox. Now again, we're going to see if that's true. But I think that's what's going to come down to it. That's what's going to be whether or not this plan works, is because Fallout, Elder Scrolls 6, then and Fallout 5, they have to hit. There's no, it can't be okay. It can't just be good, and of course, it can't be bad. These games have to absolutely hit. Okay, it has to be one of those games that would be like, where were you when this game dropped? Right? It's that kind of game that you just can't miss. That generation defining game, because this is the entire
Agreed.
plan. These are the games that Xboxes are putting their reputation on. Right? They're not only, like I said, getting rid of all these studios, but they're also tightening ship and putting that walled garden back up of exclusivity. Right? They're saying, if you want to play these games, you have to come into our ecosystem, whether that's through Xbox or PC or whatever. Right? You can't access these games through the other major consoles of PlayStation and Nintendo. And if you're going to say that, that's perfectly fine. That isn't within your right. These are your studios, these are your IPs. If you want to sell them, to whoever, that's on you. But if you're going to do that, that means you're guaranteeing a certain pedigree of quality. At least in my mind, if you're making a game exclusive, that to me means that one, you can only play it because you can only play it on certain places and on certain devices. You're telling somebody that 100 plus, hundreds of dollars that you're about to invest into this platform, the game that you're going to play that I'm making exclusive, it's going to be worth it. Right? It's worth you investing $800 in a Series X. It's worth you investing $600 into a Series S, or whatever these prices are now. Right? It's worth all of this hundreds of dollars that you're putting into these consoles. And so if you're saying that it's worth you going out and spending almost $1,000 on a console, then that game cannot be anything less than a 9. Like it has to hit. It has to be the talk of the town. It has to be, everybody's trying to get on, everybody's trying to play it. Everybody's like, damn, where can I go? Can I go get a Series X on sale? Can I find something here? Do I have a friend I could borrow something from? Like, that's what needs to be the conversation when it comes to these major IPs. And the question is can Asha get these studios to produce that? Because if they can't, and these games come out as okay, right, or just mid, or just like, it was straight. It wasn't terrible, wasn't fantastic, but it was, it was cool. It was cool. A nice 7 or low 8. Then I see a future where the floodgates open up back again for Xbox, and they're gonna have to either become full multi-platform and just kind of get rid of the console and just become the Sega essentially, or maybe Asha gets replaced and it becomes like a situation where Amy Hood is kind of calling the shots as to what happens with Xbox's future, and I don't think really anybody wants that. But yeah, I don't think currently that Xbox can facilitate or would have been able to facilitate any kind of creativity from these smaller studios that they let go. Um, I don't think there would have been anything coming good out of the coalition or anything like that if they had stayed. So I understand again why they let them go. They have to. When we saw those numbers and she revealed those numbers, like it was kind of a wake up call. Like we all knew Xbox was in a bad place, but they are in a really bad place right now. And when you're that bad, you have to, you can't let the B team and the C team kind of run rampant. You gotta, let the first string players have to be, on all cylinders, running high on all cylinders at that point. They have to be the ones leading the team. And maybe when Xbox gets into a healthy, if they ever do get into a healthy place again, then they can allow, smaller games to come out and smaller projects and passion projects like that to come out. But right now they need guaranteed successes. And that's what she thinks that these games are, right? These are the games that have proven themselves as fan favorites. Like Fallout's a fan favorite, The Elder Scrolls is a fan favorite, Doom is a fan favorite, Halo, Gears, and Forza. Those kind of vary, especially late. In this generation, they've kind of fallen off, but they're still considered like, well, at least Halo and Gears has, but they're still considered the staple of Xbox, right? They're the makeup of what makes Xbox Xbox. So they're gonna still bet on those cards. So they're betting everything on the high end games and hoping that these are the games that kind of bring back Xbox into some type of, I guess, 360 style glory. Do I think they'll ever get to that? No. One, again, these high prices of consoles. I don't think we're going to see a generation with Xbox selling 50 million ever again. They may be getting their kind of praise and adoration from the PC crowd. Like that'll be the platform that benefits the most, and kind of where they see growth in terms of like Game Pass and sales. It'll be the PC side. I think the next generation of Xbox is going to be even worse than this generation. I don't think anybody thinks different. I think that's kind of what people are all kind of assuming, right? So it's like I don't see them going back to being a really competitor as far as a hardware competitor for PlayStation. But again, I think they probably leaning more towards, we can find success on PC at this point, and we can find our profits and revenue by keeping the hardcore that we have, right? Because that was the point of making these games exclusives, was to keep the hardcore satiated so that they don't bleed out anymore, right? Because that's what they were doing once they announced the multi-platform strategy. A lot of them were just like, fuck this, fuck Xbox, I'm out, right? And so a lot of this situation is just trying to keep them happy and keep them appeased. And I think they'll keep doing that. I feel like the exclusive strategy is going to continue. I have a feeling that they're probably going to make Elder Scrolls exclusive and the next Fallout exclusive, at least timed, right? I don't think it'll be multi-platform day one. Like I don't think it'll be like a day one release everywhere. At the very most, it'll be a delay, a timed exclusive. But I'm leaning more towards it'll be full on exclusive. And again, if it hits, it'll do very well for Xbox. I don't think it'll massively increase their hardware. Like they might get a few million out of it, but it'll be mostly, hey, there'll be a bunch of people. You'll see the Steam charts where it's a bunch of people online playing Elder Scrolls and Fallout and things like that. I think that's kind of where they'll see growth. But at the end of the day, the strategy, regardless of whether they kept the small studios or just trim them down to just the main hitters, it's all going to dwindle down to how good these games are. Because if they're not good, none of the strategy matters if the games aren't great. So, yeah.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, if you're going to kind of, like you said, whittle things down to, what you think is the best of the best, or the best of what you have left, then yeah, I mean, those have got to hit, and I agree. As far as Bethesda's camp, with Fallout and the Elder Scrolls, I mean, those have to hit. They take way too long to develop for, and I mean, obviously, the biggest hope probably for Bethesda at this point is the Elder Scrolls 6 is seen as,
Yeah.
the next Skyrim, where they're selling it to you on Samsung refrigerators 10 years from now, and you're still buying it.
And that's a big bar to reach with how beloved Skyrim is. That's a very high bar for Bethesda to hit again, because I think that's people's bare minimum expectation is to have another Skyrim. This is the Elder Scrolls. Like, this is a big deal, right? This is it. They gave people leeway with Starfield because it's a new IP. So people were more forgiving with that. Like, okay, they're trying something new. So you get a little leeway on that. But this is the Elder Scrolls, right? Skyrim's been like a top 5 game for people for 20 plus years at this point. So it's like you're giving a the next game in that iteration, right? And I feel like almost the reason that this game has been taking so long, I think, is because of the weight of that. I feel like Todd feels the pressure.
agree.
of Elder Scrolls 6, exactly, yeah, of how it needs to live up to people's expectations. And I think he's just kind of like, wait, no, we got to add something else. We got to change something else. Like, oh, I don't know, man. We just need to do this and that. Like, I just feel like he's feeling that pressure of how this game needs to be. And especially when you look at it in the wake of all of these massive layoffs that have happened within Xbox, I think he understands that it may not necessarily be his job on the line, but there'll be a lot of people within that he works with job on the line if this game doesn't hit the way Xbox wants it to hit, right? He's gonna be losing out on a lot of colleagues and things like that. And Bethesda might be trimmed down a little bit if Elder Scrolls doesn't hit the way that they want it, and it doesn't give them those subscriptions and the sales that they expect for this game. Because I know Xbox has a lot of high expectations riding on Elder Scrolls 6. I don't think it's coming out until at the very least 2028 though. Or I'm thinking 2028, 2029. It might, it may be a people keep thinking it'll be like a Helix, a launch for Helix. I don't know. I feel like that's
Yeah.
kind of being that might be a little too hopeful. I don't know.
Yeah, it
Just
might
from the
be.
fact that they are consistently talking about, oh yeah, well we kind of, it's internally a little delayed. We're kind of pushing it back. We're taking our time with it. And I'm just like, oh God. But don't rush it. Take your time because again, it has to hit. So if you gotta, take another year or two, do what you gotta do. I'm sure Asha will oblige as long as the game succeeds at the end of the day. Um, and another factor is it's also going to come down to how much time the real metric of will the strategy work also comes down to will Satya and Amy give Asha the time she needs to fix Xbox, because this can't be fixed in a year or 2 years or 3 years. It's going to take like 6 years to a decade to reverse or at least stop the bleeding from some of the issues that prior heads have put onto Xbox. And a
Mhm.
lot of the bad decisions that were made and that were made prior, it's going to take a while to fix. So we know Microsoft is a very, you need to do this now, and we need to see the results on the next, financial statement next year for us to, give you some leeway. They want results now. They're not, they're a short-term thinking kind of company. They don't really think in the long term that often. And that's kind of been to their detriment, because and that's why they make decisions so quickly and reverse things so quickly, is because they don't really stick it out for the long haul. They just kind of be like, oh shit, it didn't work. Oh God, oh, we gotta reverse. Oh wait, let's try this. Oh wait. Like they're just always reactionary. So I'm hoping that they'll give Asha, they'll step back and they'll give Asha time to be like, okay, we understand that these kind of things, and getting people to come back to the Xbox platform, and getting people to trust Xbox again, and trust that they'll make these games exclusive, and trust that they won't reverse their word every other month. That's going to take time. So we're going to step back and we're going to give you the time you need to pull out, to pull off this plan. Tell us how much time you need. We'll give you that time. That's going to be the question. Is are they going to give her that time that she needs?
Nope, I agree. Omar, what are you feeling about Xbox's new strategy, focusing on their high priority titles? You feel like it's a potential mistake, or you feel like, you know, you're feeling hopeful?
So, actual moving is kind of like how nostalgia is. Actually, I think I'm not nostalgic, so I'm gonna burn bridges and not build connection based on friendship. This is how it, because yeah, Morgan talked about how Phil he was buddy with people. Actually, I'm not doing that. With her strategy, it's like it's doomed. It's only doomed because they don't have the people. Morgan said it. She doesn't see them reaching 50 million people. You need you. I don't know how much, but you do need significant amount of people to stand on your own. So with Xbox and PC, I don't think it's gonna be enough. Even if they create a phenomenal Elder Scroll, they need PlayStation still. I think um, what's gonna happen is Gears E Day and a Clockwork Revolution is gonna be on on a microscope to see now does exclusive pay or does it not pay? And I feel like it's not gonna work for them. They're putting so much on E-Day and Clockwork Revolution. I don't think it's gonna pan out well for them. And with this whole new strategy, it's like focus on blockbuster. Like that's how creativity dies. Creativity comes from these small uh, games, and I'm not saying handcuff them or don't give them any creativity at all, or no, or give them the free reign. Like I have seen what happened when you do that. Taking point, um, the studio behind Psychonaut, Double Fine. I couldn't believe my eyes and ears when I was hearing how they specifically targeted how far can they get away with the bare minimum a project just to get funding out of it. Like, don't do that. Give them a structure. You're gonna make Psychonauts 4. You're gonna make this. You're gonna make that. Give them something structured, but don't leave them out. Like it was you were the one that banked on Game Pass. I think Game Pass needs to go. If you want your game to sell, you need to teach your um, fan base to to buy games. That's the only way that's gonna work out itself out. As for uh, Elder Scroll being a next gen title, I can see it being cross-gen, depending on what they're gonna do with the tech and stuff like that. I would they make it exclusive? That's gonna be interesting because Bethesda is not a fan of that, so it's gonna be interesting to see what they're gonna do with that. Because they have an example of what happened when you make a game exclusive, which was um oh what's that game from Bethesda that you played in it? That was on Xbox 30 FPS. I forgot the name. Holy shit. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you.
Gotcha.
Uh, that was 30 FPS. I mean, I didn't play nothing at 30 FPS because I played their games on
No, no,
PC.
not you, not you. The game came out on PC and Xbox. It was exclusive, but then it became to PlayStation. Um,
Starfield.
yeah, thank you. We got an example. What happened when you make your game exclusive? Did it do well on Xbox? Starfield?
I mean, it's
I think
sales.
it did pretty good.
Yeah,
It
it did
didn't
all
do
right.
like all it didn't do like for Forza Horizon levels, but it did pretty good.
Yeah, the primary its primary sales were on PC,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Steam
that's what
specifically.
I'm saying. Like you need to basically become a PlayStation. if you want to succeed. Like, I think that's Asha mindset, but she doesn't have the fan base to execute it. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Um, I'm honestly interested to see if their if her team stayed with her or leave. Cause I read she hired a person 2 months ago and he left. I forgot what his exact position is, but you can't have too many people do that. So it's gonna be interesting to see whether she succeed or not. But one thing for sure, Asha is not your friend. She is not here to be your buddy.
Yeah, I mean, the person that left was an engineer that was set to work on the future project that came over. So it was somebody she promoted from AI, which then he left to go work for an AI company.
Mm. Okay, but yeah, no, it's gonna be super interesting to see if Asha succeed or not.
Cool. Sounds good. Weeb, uh, anything to add on this topic about how you're feeling about this high priority potential and high ROI that Xbox is focusing on? You feeling like it's looking like a success or 50-50, or how are we feeling?
No, it's not a success. I mean, I understand the logic behind it, but it's also I think it's too late for a lot of these franchises to turn it around. Especially the Xbox own, now the OG brand like Halo and Gears. Um, I and they're literally killing. The only reason for Game Pass to exist is having interesting, smaller games together with their big blockbuster first party titles. So if you're going to take away those smaller titles that are essentially necessary to sort of hold over until the next big title drops, because as we have also discussed, like the development times just are ridiculous. It takes 5-6 years for a new entry in a main entry in the series to come out for AAA games. So how are you going to ensure people keep subscribed to your service, and especially also since you're cutting all these third-party deals that you were involved with, pulling funding or just canceling agreements you had with putting games in Game Pass, which does I guess suck for these, especially for some of these indie games studios or indie developers that kind of were living off that arrangement, where they're like, yeah, we can always just for Game Pass get our money back in a way, and ensure we can continue making our games. All that honeymoon is over for a lot of them. So yeah, I don't see this as a particularly sound plan for the long term. I think it's a reactionary plan. It's obviously based on the fact that they're weren't run um, yeah, financially solvent. They had a lot of issues with with was I think the number, like I said, uh, losing $3 in the dollar or something. Um, so yeah, it wasn't saying like, and yes, if you're looking at it from a growth perspective, like Phil was trying to grow, the platform grow, Game Pass, invest upfront to reap the benefits afterwards. Like, except those benefits were never going to be reached. Like they were just like Herman Hulse was trapped into the Concord positivity sort of spiral, basically, where they just see only the good news and keep on exacerbating that good news and ignoring any warning signs. I think that's sort of a detriment to Phil's strategy. It might have been also a strategy out of desperation because we all know the story that he sort of convinced Satya to not close down the Xbox division, and but yeah, it doesn't change the fact that it fully failed, and now you have Asha, the Terminator, as Jess would say, uh, just go through that mess that was left behind by our predecessors. Which, yes, sure, it's a mess, and sure somebody has to clean it up. Except don't expect her to do that with with Xbox, with the brand, the platform, with the best interest of that platform in her mind. And the bottom line is like this division needs to turn a profit. Um, she has targets to meet. She wants her bonuses. So in the end, it's just a matter of the spreadsheet management that they can just put down on end of the fiscal year. Hey, yeah, look, we cut a ridiculous amount of cost. We fired a lot of people, closed down all these, or got rid of all these smaller studios that were not turning a profit. We only focus on the big ones. So see, we've made it better. We made it become more financially stable, and so yeah, give me my bonus. But yeah, it's a very short term, um, strategy, sort of short term thinking, because you cannot survive on those big titles alone. Um, but yeah, in the end, like the whole Game Pass strategy was never gonna work because everybody was saying that. Everybody who was supporting it was dismissing it and just calling it, that we're just spreading negativity and we're hate and blah 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 blah. And in the meantime, the entire industry is going, getting fucked up with their service push, with live service push, which was this massive acquisition spree that has cost PlayStation to go through that. That games as a service phase, and yeah, sort of leads us to this point. So yeah, I mean, I'm not, wasn't a huge fan of Phil. I don't think he was to the benefit overall of the industry of gaming as a whole. I mean, kudos to him at least that he managed to keep Xbox afloat, even though technically didn't, but at least he managed to sort of use enough, smokes and mirrors, enough sort of, distractions and sleight of hand to make it appear that there was a strategy, there was something, there was potential there, and I think he overplayed his hand, with Bethesda, and particularly with Activision, and there, here we are, then the suits come in, then the AI bros and sisters come in to clean up house. But yeah, not to make Xbox great again. It's just to damage control, literally, to make sure that it stop the bleeding, and it doesn't matter what the consequences is for us gamers, because yeah, in the end we're probably gonna get less creativity, less interesting titles. They're gonna milk those franchises to death until nobody gives a damn anymore. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, and look, and some things like the whole Fallout thing. Certainly, I think there makes totally sense to have Obsidian work on a Fallout game. I should have done that from day one, and that was definitely Phil's biggest weakness, in the sense that he let these two just get away with it. That he let Todd dictate terms to him. Say, yeah, no, I want Obsidian to do Fallout, which obviously was because he was afraid they were gonna upend him, make a better Fallout game than their next Fallout game, which is not not out of the realm of possibilities because they already did it before. So yeah, it is. But yeah, that's sort of, I guess, more in a sense of getting things back to the natural order of things, as this was supposed to happen. But yeah, as for the other things like the insanity that they're I think it's even more than half of the development staff, or like all the critical talent is gone. Like I I I, I really wonder how the hell are they going to make a new Doom game. I think that I would not be surprised that they're just betting on, oh yeah, but we can do it with with less developers, or with inexperienced developers, because just use AI, um, which is really worrisome, because if that's the way things are going, that the next Doom is going to be mostly AI generated. Yeah, I don't know if that's. I mean, I know that's not going to be good, but it is. Yeah, that this sort of the ideas of somebody who's very much fully on board with AI, and fully entrenched and fully dependent on the success of that to get her bonuses, has no clue about gaming, and some of the things that partially because of the positive reception he's gotten from the diehard fanboys, thinks she can get away with that. Yeah, we'll see. How that turns out. I don't. Again, I don't have any. I don't have a good feeling, but I don't think that's gonna. It's not gonna save Xbox. Not gonna, do turn things around to the point that they're back. Um, in a sense, the only thing that's sort of sort of helping them, or at least postponing the inevitable, is that PlayStation now is also so out of touch that they think they're able to get away with murder, because literally they don't have any competition. They see the mess that Xbox is, and I think, this is the right time to just pull the shit that we always wanted to pull, but we're afraid to do, because we had competition, and now they're like, what are they going to do, where they're going to go. Again, like, I opted for PC as an alternative to this all digital future, but I think they're counting on the fact that most people won't move to a PC because of how prohibitively expensive hardware parts are, and it's just getting worse, potentially. So that's a gamble, I guess. Um, you know, Fueled by their perceived sort of invincibility, their perceived we're too big to fail, in a sense, because we are the biggest in the industry, in terms of gaming platform, and they're not able to. We don't have any competition. They don't know what they're doing. They obviously try to pretend that Nintendo isn't competition, which obviously it is. Um, and of course, PC is competition, and that's what they realize. That's why they pull back their PC initiative. But of course, as we've all said, the main reason is this announcement, this move away from physical games, so that they are have a USB being their exclusive, because they're inevitably going to be compared to all the other online digital only stores that are there, particularly around PC. But no, like I said, I don't think this is a positive development. Don't think they're going to turn it around. It's just a reactionary strategy that's might give them short-term gains, as in they can clean up their balance sheets. But in the end, it's gonna it just accelerates the inevitable that they're going to be full third party, and then then we're out of luck for looking at them for those sweet smaller titles that gave it joy. And the only thing Morgan said, the only positive thing at least, sort of, I wouldn't say positive, but sort of the silver lining is there that a lot of these studios at least were able to save themselves for the time being from being closed. I mean, I say for the time being because it also doesn't guarantee that they will survive on their own. There is a reason, obviously, that they joined Xbox in the first place. So I don't know if they're going to be able to be successful on their own, especially in this market. I mean, I'm sure that studios like Double Fine will be Double Fine because they they do have a reputation and they can sort of churn out games that probably don't cost that much to make and can be reasonably successful. I have more concern from studios like Compulsion because they have a critically acclaimed hit, but not necessarily financially successful hit. But what is under under Phil Spencer's Xbox Game Pass strategy. Ninja Theory is also one. I'm kind of worried about considering how long Hellblade 2 was in development and what it turned out to be. As much as I still like the game, it was absolutely not worth it. I think from an investment perspective, it was an insanely massive waste of money. Like they could have made 3 Hellblades in the time they spent on Hellblade 2. We just have to wait and hope that they're able to make it on their own or having a new partnership to at least make it worth it that they were spare the axe from Asha. The only thing we can do is wait and see how this turns out to be. But I'm not optimistic that this is gonna somehow turn things around. Which considering again the arrogance that Sony is showing, I kind of wish they did. I kind of wish that they came back and realized, we need to get our act together and put up a fight, compete, and they haven't been doing that for a while, and I don't really see them doing that now. And I think they're going to be too dependent on PlayStation for selling their first party games because they know nobody's buying them on their own platform. I mean that's all I have. Back to you, Nate.
He probably is busy, but I want to take over for a second because the Star Wars Zero Company's Collector's Edition just released. It is $300 for nothing.
Right.
But it's Disney, so I expect them to inflate the price of this crap. It's got some kind of like toy thing on it, but it's like nothing about this collector's edition looks $300 worth. Like they doing too much. I was excited when I saw it pop up on my feed.
Holes in it?
Yeah, right. I was excited when I saw it pop up on my feed and I saw that price and I was like, no.
If it has a stash of Darth Jar Jar, I'm gonna buy
it.
Nah, it doesn't.
Fuck, it's supposed to be a variant Star Wars The Black Series electronic thermal detonator.
Yeah, I'm like
that looks like a little toy.
That's it.
Really?
I mean, there's more in it, obviously, but as far as like figurines and things goes, that's it. Like, I'm trying to figure out where they get the $300 for this because there's like pins, there's some patches, there's a desk mat for whatever reason, obviously a steel book, a certificate of authenticity. Oh, of course, that's what it is. But yeah, it's like
you've officially been ripped off.
You've officially been ripped off. Like, there's nothing about this that looks $300, which is very annoying because I'm looking forward to this game. This is like one of my most anticipated games for August, and
Oh yeah, I might.
that price is insane. I'm not getting that.
Yeah, definitely a no go. I love me some XCOM, and it says a lot of the guys in success to that, but yeah, definitely not. Not for that price. They crazy. Uh, but yeah, no. I agree, kind of with everybody else was saying. But especially what Morgan said. I mean, the like you said, for this to work, these things have to be massive hits, and also what that probably means is a lot like Call of Duty. That also means they have to not be in Game Pass.
That's another factor. Because in the speech that the m- whatever the memo that she put out, one of the lines that she did say was that multi-platform strategy and Game Pass, like, it didn't go the way that it was planned to go. So I'm like, okay, so they got rid of they got rid of the multi-platform strategy. So what are the changes that are going to come about with Game Pass? And I think people are expecting some sort of change. I don't know if it'll be day and date is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I do see some kind of change. They obviously can't, or I mean they can, but I highly doubt they'll put the price back up, because the whole rah cheering for her was when she dropped the price right back down to or back
Yeah,
down
but
to 22.
there's there's different ways to reduce cost. Okay, if you can't reduce the price, then just reduce the offering. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, remember they did announce that they were kind of pulling back from the third party deals that they were doing, right? They kind of stopped, or the third party deals. Now I'm sure they're probably reevaluating what their strategy is when it comes to making third party deals. They're probably trying to prioritize what they constitute as successes. Like, they probably want to make more deals like they did with Expedition 33, and
Mm-hmm.
less with like something like I don't know, what was a deal that they made that didn't really work. I mean, there's a bunch of deals they made that didn't really pan out. They don't want to make the kind of
That's true.
smaller deals that don't move the needle for Game Pass. They kind
Mm-hmm.
of want to make oh, this was a Game of the Year winner, and it's on Game Pass. That's how you promote Game Pass, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So that
we've also established that they have absolutely no eye for quality. I mean,
I mean,
did,
that is true.
didn't they think the Baldur's Gate 3 was going to be a flop?
Oh yeah, yeah. And then because they did offer the team some money to put it in Game Pass, but it was not what they wanted, and they were like, "Well, we don't deem that your game is worthy of the price that you're asking, so we're not going to give you that." And then boom, turns out they got Game of the Year. So
Yeah. Well, we
yeah.
Insane.
saw those leaked documents about what they thought a game should be offered to be on Game Pass, and it was
Hmm.
like Baldur's Gate 3 was like 30 grand or something stupid like
Yeah, it
that.
was insane. Like, but again, I don't really know what kind of games I like. Phil was a fan of like games like Diablo and stuff like that. Like, when it comes to like other games, strategy, single player, I just feel like he don't really know what hits, to be honest.
Yeah.
He was so confused with Redfall. That just tested so positively internally. Like, to who though? Um, so yeah, I don't really know what's gonna happen with Game Pass when it comes to them doing that. They're gonna have to change something, because they already said that they were expecting by this year or next year that they were supposed to be at 75 million, and they're
Mm-hmm.
back down to 30. They were at 30, 35 or 34, then they lost the 4 million when they increased the price, and now they're back to 30. I'm like, so they barely moved the needle since they the leaked Activision trial and everything, when the documents like that they were at 30 million back in 2020, 2021. I'm like, so you guys have barely moved the needle since then?
In
All these
in a
offerings,
way,
right? Call of Duty and Game Pass, all these things, and they've
yeah.
barely moved.
In a way that I mean the way that people always say, "Hey, Phil is a gamer," he knows, he's one of us. Is actually worse in that sense. That I mean, look, Ash not knowing any games is also not good, but the fact that yeah, he's a gamer, but he occasionally in a sense he was a casual, because of course he is,
Mm,
because he's a CEO. He doesn't have the time to
right.
play games every night, but that makes it actually worse, because then he thinks that he knows gaming, people encourage him because hey, you're a gamer, and
Mhm.
then you get shit like that. Oh yeah, no gaming. So I think this is
Yeah,
gonna be it.
he's
Yeah,
online playing Fallout 76 with us, so
yeah.
he knows what's up. Yeah, we love Phil.
Yeah,
You know,
but
he's
he thinks that as well, and very clearly he doesn't have a good eye of quality, and in a sense, like in his position, he shouldn't even be that deep into it. Like he should be able to rely on his people. Like he should have been able to rely on Matt Booty, who obviously is terrible at his job, but
Hmm.
who should he should be able to rely on him. And okay, you should have the quality, the eye and quality. You should be able to. You should be no the shoe uh, of my gaming division. You should make sure that we don't ship anything that looks as bad, as Redfall. And obviously it didn't happen,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's not a problem you solve, just by putting in new management, because that's kind of the thing that people underestimate. It's not just that you have people who have that eye of quality. There needs to be a structure in place. Like and yes, in a way, she is improving that structure by removing a lot of middleman, like a lot of changing a reporting structure so that you don't have to jump to 20 hoops to get approval on an idea. But at the same time, like we've been saying, like she's gonna, like, the point of this topic is she's focusing on those big big IPs that they're sort of core IP, the money makers, right?
Mhm.
That doesn't really encourage creativity. That doesn't really. I'm not gonna expect people having wild ideas and now are able to get them approved quicker. They're gonna be they're gonna be perhaps quicker on the desk of Asha or direct subordinates, but they're not going to be approved because yeah, if it's not Call of Duty, if it's not Halo, it's like Gears, yeah, we're not going to do it because that's not going to make us money, right? That's their new
Mhm.
mantra. So it is kind of, yeah, I don't know, it is sort of this everything that they think is going to happen is basically undermined, by her actions. Like I said with Doom, like okay, if
Mhm.
Doom is going to be a focus, but then you're gutting that studio and basically make it impossible for them to deliver a new Doom game in a reasonable amount of time. Like I kind of fearful that they're just setting them up for failure in the sense that, oh yeah, okay, make us a new Doom game in 2 years or whatever, right? And they're like, how the hell are we going to do that? Because you literally fired 75% of our staff, and like, yeah, not my problem. You have your target, yeah, you can do it. You
Mhm.
just reuse as whatever, and then they're not going to make the deadline, or they're going to produce something that's going to be panned by critics because they look like, yeah, well, what the hell is this? This is just Doom Dark Ages, 2.5. Like you haven't changed anything. You're just regurgitating the same thing. What happened to Doom? And then it's going to be a critical failure, and then they're just going to say, yeah, yeah, you guys had a chance, bye. We're going to close you down anyway. I mean, yeah, that's certainly a possibility. Or either that, or you are incredibly, say, incompetent, but at least so overzealous with your spreadsheet management that you're incapable of seeing. Okay, you're like, hey, we cut costs, but like you're not seeing the sort of the connection between you cutting costs means you're not gonna make a lot of revenue. But then again, the Doom games were never successful, even before they were acquired. Like they didn't make an insane amount of money. But they're kind of those titles that sort of carry that sort of form your identity. Like it has too much, way too much history behind that you can just just shelve. Well, you could shelve the IP, but not like just completely shutter it. And the with the critical success of especially Doom 2016. Um, yeah, there you had something that everybody was talking about. So you kind of you kind of were you couldn't ignore it. You couldn't just say, yeah, but yeah, it didn't make the money that we wanted it to make. So yeah, let's not make another Doom game. That needed an answer, even if you knew that's probably not going to make you, in terms of return on investment, is probably not be the best decision to make. But yeah, that kind of decision is not going to be made by an executive whose only goal is to make the Xbox division profitable again, or at least cut as much cost as possible. Because yeah, you have an incredible amount of debt there, based on your acquisition, especially Activision, and the fact that you've never really made a profit, and now you want to see return on that investment. Now you want to make a profit, and now your targets are literally tied to that. So of course, you're gonna do whatever it takes, which inevitably will lead to, in my opinion at least, to the downfall of the Xbox as if we know it, but not in a positive way. I mean, you're just gonna get less variety. You're just gonna get the same IPs milked until you can no longer milk them, and it just will push them further and further in that third party. Like Sean Lane said, like you can be both. You can be a third party publisher or a platform, and it's very clear that which one's making them more money right now, and what they're more interested in having now. And yeah, it wouldn't be the first time that Microsoft decided, yeah, we're just gonna cut our losses and move on. Like we're we don't care about the fact that this brand has so much history and so much meaning behind it, and whatever it's going to do to the industry when PlayStation's main competitor disappears. But yeah,
Mm.
that's the reality we're living in right now. And yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, I rambled again, but yeah.
No, you're good. You're right. It's just a question mark around Xbox's future right now, and I think kind of
A big ass question mark.
I don't know. I just feel like being an Xbox
Question
fan
mark
is
is
just
not
kind
Xbox
of
only, PlayStation as well. Like,
oh yeah, PlayStation too. Because I really with PlayStation in particular, it's really going to come down to what are they gonna say about the PS6? Like, what is the draw? Obviously, with they're going to trying to go towards an all digital future. Do they have a plan about that? I mean, we recently, saw the whole outage situation. Now, I didn't experience it, but I did see like a lot of people, I think, abroad, like in the UK, have an outage or whatever. But
Yeah, they
if you
literally.
if you game share or something, you can't access it, or if it's not your home console, you can't access your games, and that's kind of a big issue there. So that's going to be something they need to fix, or at least acknowledge that they're working on something to alleviate these issues when it comes to your digital ownership and your digital rights. And what are they going to do about the future of digital? Like, what's the future of digital like for PlayStation? And I'm hoping, and that's probably cope, that the reason that they haven't said anything is because that's part of the PS6 plan. And since they haven't said anything about PS6 and divulged any information about PS6, that's why they're not talking about it. They're like, this is going to be a part of our
Which might be a nice segue to the next topic.
right.
would you?
There we
But
go.
would you not agree if, let's say, that's true? That's even worse because their fan base right now are in shambles. They are literally losing people. Like, their games are good, but not I can't own my game good. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think
Laufey,
I think if PlayStation comes out like and with the PS6 and they have like a good digital plan. Like that's
I don't.
maybe not one for one with Steam, but it's like it's getting there. They have a plan. They have a plan for your security. They have a plan for what it means for digital ownership. They have a plan to improve the PlayStation Store, PlayStation Online. Like they have a plan for the refund, gifting, sharing. They're gonna expand that, bringing back PlayStation All Stars. Like all of these things, they implement that. I think people, obviously, not everyone will come back. Some people are still like, if it's physical or nothing, and that's perfectly fine. But I think a
Mhm.
lot of people would be satiated with, okay, you've come with the plan. It took you a long time to come with it, but it's here and it's a good one. So I'll give you a chance. Right. And of course, obviously, like I said, you're not going to bring everybody back. But I think a majority of people would be happy to have some sort of plan from PlayStation about what it means for their games if they're going to be a digital platform.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't see it mostly because people like I've seen people that were diehard PlayStation fans are now screw PlayStation. I'm just done with them.
I
And
mean,
that's
a
fine.
Because
That's what I said. I said not everybody's going to come back, and that's perfectly fine. That's within your right. If you didn't like the plans PlayStation was making, and you're physical 100%, and if it's not physical, fuck it. That's perfectly fine. That's valid. And as I said, they're probably going to lose some people regardless. But I'm thinking, but what I'm saying is, I think the majority of people who are upset would be um, willing to give PlayStation a chance if they come with a good plan with their digital only stance.
yeah, I
because
agree.
see,
Yeah, I think the whole physical or bust 100%, and that's their only issue, and it's that or nothing. Yeah, I mean, like that was already like not going to be a thing for them. That's basically off the table. So, um, yeah, I mean
it's
that
gonna
they
be interesting to see how they're gonna move.
I mean, yeah, but the question mark for both of these companies is very different. Is like let's be real. PlayStation is not the question mark that Xbox's future is. We're talking about whether or not Xbox is even here as a platform. Next generation. PlayStation 6. That's not a question. It's just how successful is the next generation of PlayStation going to be, and how are they going to handle the things that they put in play. Um, they obviously have a very opposite issue of Xbox, where Xbox talks too much for a while, and PlayStation hasn't said enough. So eventually, PlayStation has to start opening their mouth. Like again, I'm not one for all the talking, but you know, comes a time when you gotta say
Yeah,
something.
the leadership is lacking to say the least
Yeah,
as of right now.
specifically the leadership positions are. It's not. They're not speaking when they need to. Um, that's for
No,
sure. And when they do speak, it's kind of more in generalizations. Um, but
also
yeah,
they're taking us a lot for granted. Not gonna lie.
yeah,
I think they are acting arrogant as fuck with this type of move. I am like we all here are PlayStation diehards, and when they lose, yeah, they're gonna have their what you call it, their um their casual fan base, but their hardcore are watching and seeing what's happening. They didn't forget uh the PlayStation 3 era. So I don't know what PlayStation's going to do, to be honest.
I mean, none of us do. That's kind of the point. We gotta wait to see.
exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
we have
so wait
to
and
wait to
see.
if we hear anything.
But yeah, the other topic that we had, I want to cover it later because I want to spend more time on it than I've probably got right now. And it's a universal topic, so it can be talked about whenever. Um, so uh, with that, we'll go ahead and close up here on that topic, and go ahead and get ready to get up out of here. But yeah, thank you again for everybody who came through, that joined us as usual. Always enjoy the conversation with everybody. Um, we'll see what kind of news we got. Like we said, obviously a ton of games on the way. Um, been seeing everybody's kind of list, what they're excited for. I even saw Hero picked up a ton of great games for like 30 Australian. He got like Cyberpunk, Red Dead 2, and something else. But he got some heat. So, um, yeah, lots of good deals out there for a lot of people, and a lot of pre-orders out here for a ton of people picking things up. I know obviously Tokon is out there as well with the open beta, so a lot of people are enjoying that as well. But yeah, with that, we're gonna get ready to get up out of here. Weave, let the people know where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. Probably bragging about my new PC.
As you
um,
should.
Yeah.
as I
Understandably.
should, yeah.
So
And
are
yeah, I
you
mean,
gonna put that in your bed and deposit the same way this PlayStation fanboy did with the PS5? The picture? You know what I'm talking
sorry,
about, right?
didn't quite get that, Omar, but we'll uh, we'll talk about it in the after show. Yeah, so yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I mean, I think I have a Blue Sky account, but it's pretty much dead. As the Infinite Rhizome, as the Weep Sheriff. Yeah, I have been a bit more active there recently because of the whole physical apocalypse, whatever we're going to call it, physical
I know how
Margeddon.
you call that.
Yeah, but yeah, because I mean, ironically, I now have the ultimate all digital device, but I've also, I mean, been posting like crazy, but all my physical acquisitions because I've been buying like crazy, uh, partially because of the sort of finality of it. Like, okay, I do want to sort of pull the trigger on everything that I was postponing. And there's also a little bit of fear of prices going crazy, which they have, in some cases. So yeah, I mean, and if you want to support physical, buy physical. Like I said, I'm not expecting Sony to change course, but in the end, physical media generally is more affordable. You have more options if you would just want to buy it secondhand. Generally, you get nicer things with it, and yeah, you actually own it. Nobody can pull the license or whatever. And as long as you have a device to play it, I mean, shout out to Will for his tips to make sure you stock up on maybe an extra PlayStation 5, maybe a disc drive, just to be sure that you can continue playing in the well for very long time at least. And don't worry about all the bullshit with disc rot. That shit doesn't happen.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
So you probably should have talked about that. The interesting news that has been coming out about that shit.
Yeah,
Man,
it's
people
it's
people
it's it's crazy.
lying.
I'm filing that in the same section as that dude that when the PlayStation 5 came out, like, oh, my PlayStation 5 is a roach motel. Yeah, okay. What does that say? Does it say something about PlayStation, or does it say something about your
Exactly,
home?
because those roaches didn't just come out of thin air. Where did
Yeah,
they come from, sir?
yeah. I mean, and to the same extent, like if you're storing your games in the same place you're storing your console, and your games have disk rot, yeah, I might want to check on your console because that probably is gonna be moist as well. Anyway, yeah, great show. Yeah, again, keep on fighting, keep letting yourself hurt. Fuck PlayStation. Also, fuck everybody. But yeah. Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Otter Nation. Morgan, where can the people find you, ma'am?
Yeah, you can also find me on Twitter, but you're about to find me on the high seas in a minute, finishing up Assassin's Creed Black Flag, so I can check that off the list and move on, get back to that Halo greatness. Yeah. Um, mm. But yeah, you can always just find me gaming because, like I said, regardless of all the bullshit that happens, my love of gaming will not be tainted. So I'll still be in those gaming streets, trying to give you the best opinion I can about certain games. But Yeah, hopefully next week we'll have some more positive news to talk about, unless, industry sucks ass type news. I always prefer the happy gaming news to that. But yeah,
Agreed.
see you guys next week. Otter Nation.
Automation.
Otter Nation. And Omar, where can the people find you, sir?
I know how you are doing your outros and every single one. Other nation. You can find me Carbon Scorchio on Twitter, and yeah, PGP is officially dead. We just moved on. Um, play your games and take care of your consoles, cause they were way much more than actual goals as of right now.
Cool. And with me, I am your host, Innate, or known as the Real Innate on Twitter and Blue Sky. With that, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. Again, thank you everybody who joined us. Always, always fun. But yeah, we're up out of here. Otter Nation.
Automation.
Otter Nation.
As a donation, it